what was the dude with the football? There was a football dude. It was the funniest shit. The Truth? Is that his name? I think it's like D8 the Truth.
He
Like
named his
D8.
kid Doug
You're
Truth?
talking about DeColdest
Yeah.
Crawford.
The
Oh, yeah,
coldest.
yeah, the coldest.
Bruh. Like,
And there was a rumor.
Yeah.
There was a rumor. It wasn't true, but somebody started on the internet that his middle name was To Eva Do It. So they're like, his name is DeColdest To Eva Do It.
Welcome back. It is what is today?
August 1st.
It's August 1st. Hey, turn
Football this
of the
month.
new- What? This oh yeah, that's right. The Hall of Fame game. My brother's getting inducted. Andre Johnson. Shout out to that. They tried to get me to go, but I hate large crowds, so I won't be attending. My apologies, bro. But happy August to everybody. Hope everybody's feeling well, feeling rested. Got me a nice tall cup of coffee, French vanilla. Creamer. Yeah, it's gonna be a good show today. Gonna be fun. We got Big T and Matt. Maddie's out on official police business, and Eric's out doing Hobbit things. So they call you Chief. What's your real
My
name?
name's Ryan. Yeah, my mom did not
Ryan.
name me Chief. I feel like that's a common.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah.
What's why they call you Chief?
So I started writing for Barstool in 2013, but I had like a real job and a life, so I didn't want to have my real name out there. And Chief was supposedly, I had my friends my freshman year of college thought I looked like the profile of the high school mascot. So you look like the mascot Chief from the side profile. So then that was they were the Scouts. So that nickname stuck. And I was a Blackhawks writer, so it kind of
Yeah, I thought it was a
made sense.
Blackhawks thing.
It tied in, but that was like my freshman year college nickname.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you have like
Wow.
You didn't have any pictures of yourself out then either.
No, I don't think I put my face on the internet until like 2017.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, welcome, Chief. We got you filling in because you apparently are passionate about this this case. This what is it called
The
again?
Karen Reed case. I'm aware
Karen Reed.
I'm aware of it. PFT just texted me,
Got it.
asked me to come on, asked if I wanted to come on. I said yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I vouched
Total
for
fault.
you. I said that
Appreciate that.
you're a smart, like, good guy to have on, and we'd had you on for one episode, but it kind of was a topic that wasn't good.
Oh, I forgot
What
about
was
that.
it? I don't
Okay.
even remember
It
that.
was
right.
microplastic,
Oh yeah, well,
and
I'm very much pro plastic.
so I lobbied Arian to give you a web redemption,
Okay.
Yeah,
and
it wasn't your fault. It was that topic was boring as shit.
Yeah.
We all admit. You
Totally.
You podcast 2 times a week. You're gonna have some duds, man, and that shit was boring. I hands up, that shit was boring as fuck. Had nothing to do with you.
I mean, I was in the plastics industry for 5 years, so I think that's why I was brought on. I didn't want to talk about it.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
yeah.
it was. I think it was.
Yeah.
It was another episode where PFT was out, and we were like, "What are we doing?" And we somehow settled on that. And
It
just
was hot in
wasn't-
the streets for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's back now because they got microplastics in people's balls.
Oh, really?
Yeah, everybody's
Whoa.
balls has microplastics is what they're saying.
And that's not good. I'm assuming,
I would assume it's not good.
but I
Wait,
assume
you
it's also
talking about, like,
probably
actual
fine.
Testicles? You talking about actual
Yeah.
testicles?
Yep.
What are you talking about, bro?
That's it. They're in your testicles.
How?
They've done now we're doing microplastics. Again,
I was
Arian.
just thinking like, now we're doing it.
Well, I mean, that's actually interesting. How is microplastics in my testicles?
So they
right
started doing like surgeries and what do you call that when you do a dead body?
Cadaver.
now?
Autopsy. When they're doing autopsies, they go through looking people's, they donate your body to science. They cut up your balls, and every single one they cut open, they found microplastics in the balls.
How would that even get there?
I don't know. Maybe it's from condoms.
just-
People should stop wearing condoms.
No, let's not do that. let's not do that.
I just figured it's because you're ingesting them, so they go.
They
I
go
assume
everywhere?
all over.
I literally have no idea. It was one of those articles where I'm like, that's not good. I'm not going to read it.
Scientists
But I
say
mean-
discovery may be linked to decades-long decline in sperm counts in men around the world.
But isn't it? It's just the highest life expectancy the Earth has ever seen, right? So I mean, maybe it's bad, but we still kicking.
I'm sure it's fine.
More than
Elon's
likely.
talking about population collapse, like I feel like once a week. So
All right. Is he spiraling? Depending on where you fall on the political spectrum. From my vantage point, it looks like this dude is on the internet all day and is just spiraling,
He's
dog.
chronically online for
Yeah.
sure. He needs to touch some grass.
He just me like it's just I seen the interview the other day of him he's trying to fight the woke mind virus. And it's like, bro, come on. That shit is silly, dog. And his what is it? I don't want to misgender. His daughter now, who was a boy,
mm-hmm.
she is transgender. And so that's like his, I guess he's like the white knight of
Oh,
wokeism,
he's got his
whatever
sword
they
out
like to
for
call it.
sure.
Yeah, and so yeah, I guess his daughter's like railing against him, like
Yeah.
which is wild to me. Like even if you don't agree with your child's decision, like outing them like that is crazy to me. Like I don't know, my babies, bro. There's nothing they could do. Like you could murder somebody, and I'd be like vehemently against that decision. But like I'm gonna visit you in prison. You're still my baby. Like I don't like I just as a parent,
Yeah.
that's the only thing I say. There's no way I'm just gonna abandon
Is that what he
my
did?
child, bro.
Did he abandon that child?
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, they don't talk.
Hmm.
He said my son is dead to me. That's what he said.
Well, I think he meant like his son is dead. Because now,
Yeah, that's a wild thing to say to a living being who thinks that they are.
but he might refer to it
another
as
gender.
his daughter. Is my point. But he's like the son that he
No,
knew.
he doesn't.
Oh, he doesn't?
He doesn't. No, they don't speak.
Yeah, that's not
They
good.
don't. They don't. You know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So like, my baby could kill somebody. I'm be like, bro, that's dumb. Why you do that? But
Shouldn't have
what's
done
the
that.
prison
You're
for?
grounded.
What's the prison?
Yeah.
What's the prison for?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't talk to my baby. But anyway, man, hopefully he gets offline. Do y'all into I was just a few things we don't talk about, man. Some current events. I'm sure y'all heard of Dr. Disrespect.
Yeah, he's like no Diddy, right?
Yeah,
He's doing some
so
Diddy shit.
apparently that's what kills me about this shit. So people don't know Dr. Disrespect. He's like this big gamer dude. And I only knew about him because anybody I follow on Twitch, I follow like a whole bunch of cats who play Valorant.
Mm-hmm.
And like apparently he was like the biggest Twitch streamer, one of the biggest Twitch streamers. And this video went viral a while back about how he was live on stream and he had read a text message and like you could just tell his whole energy shifted and he just like cut the stream. And apparently it was Twitch banning him from Twitch and then he got like a rebrand and he went on YouTube and he wasn't doing as well, but he was still, big. And then it came out that same story circled back, and I guess a bunch of companies dropped him. Same vibe. He ended the stream fast, and it came out, and then he addressed it. So he had been messaging. He's like 30 something, and he was messaging like a 17-year-old or 16-year-old or something like that.
Ooh.
Yeah, and so he's been in the news for that, and then he had got off, and then he's back today. He tweeted out this picture. I don't know what this means. It's a picture of him and a chessboard, and like his side has chess pieces and the other side has checkers. I don't know what that means. I was like, maybe y'all heard about this. I don't know what he's talking about.
I'm not familiar with Dr. Disrespect. He looks like your quintessential Southern NASCAR guy. Pretty
Yeah,
pops
exactly.
off the page. Internet says
He's like 6 foot. I think he's like 6'6" too.
The internet says 6'8".
Oh,
It
there
might
you
be
go.
a program
6'8".
height though.
That's a big.
Yeah.
And his apology was like, he was like, yeah, I did that shit. It is what it is, basically.
Yeah, 100%.
And
Go ahead. Man.
and like that was I didn't know he was trying to come back. Who's clamoring for a return?
His fans. That's what's fucking me up. So like I looked at because the tweet was viral, right? And like so I'm looking at like his replies and stuff, and like people are like, "Hey, the doc's back. Don't let him try to cancel you with the woke stuff." And I'm like, "Bro, what?" He admitted it. Like, how are we here? But it furthers my suspicion that I don't think people really care about celebrities doing bad stuff if like you're a fan. Like some people have morals, but a lot of people don't care. Fandom can override morals in this in this society.
The whole Twitch stream place to me is just like a weird space. Like I don't understand being a fan of watching people do video games. I've just never got
Let
it.
me lace you.
What?
Let me lace you, dog. Let me lace you. All right. You like sports?
I love it.
What's your favorite sport?
I like them all, but probably hockey and football.
Hockey and football. Okay, let's go with hockey because I assume you played
Yep.
hockey, right?
Yep.
All right. So you out there playing hockey with the fellas or the ladies, right? You out there playing hockey. It's a pickup game. It's it's winter break or whatever. Boom, boom, boom. You probably suck at hockey.
Yeah.
Right?
Big time.
Yeah, you probably shit.
Mhm.
It's okay, right? I play basketball, right? I have delusions of grandeur, but compared to the NBA cats, I'm ass, right? It is what it is. I love watching them play because they're so good at what they do, right? Like that's how basketball's supposed to be played. Doesn't mean I don't like playing it.
Yeah.
Right? That's Twitch gaming. The world that we grew up in, like how old are you?
38.
Yeah, so you my age. So the world we grew up in, where it's like our superstars were our basketball players, our entertainers, with you. The world that these kids grow up in, their superstars are video gamers, yada yada yada. Right? It's the same vibe. If you watch somebody like Ninja, right, play Fortnite, it's different. Like I can play Fortnite, but the way he plays Fortnite is insane, right? The way some of these cats play Valorant, like a game that I'm into, it's insane. So you get to watch people do what you enjoy doing anyway at a very, very high level. And then sometimes you find characters that are entertaining in general, right? And then you just fall in love with the vibe of what they got going on, and it's just more like a session just to watching like on a funny friend that's good at video games.
Do you get
And so it's
Do you get the same wow factor watching them do video games that you would get watching LeBron play basketball?
I don't.
Okay.
But when you see kids, they didn't grow up like they have a different metric on how they gauge their wow,
Okay.
right? So we're looking for moments in sports, right? They don't really grow up with that desire to have because that's all we had. Right.
Yeah.
They have a whole other realm of entertainment where when they do this specific thing, it makes them feel good. It's the same shit. And I finally accepted it because I have kids. And I just see their reverence for some of these streamers. It was my reverence as some of these sports players. And we don't like it as adults because it's like go outside and blah, blah, blah. But I was like, yo, this is the world they live in. This is the world curated for them. So
yeah, I guess I've never seen anybody be awesome. I just have like the memories of being, middle school, like you're doing a sleepover or you're in college and everybody's playing a game and you're just kind of like sitting there waiting for your turn. Like that's like I don't want to watch. Like I want to do it. I don't want to watch people. So that's always been my perspective of it. But I guess I see your point though.
Have you ever been? Are you into video games? Have you ever like played one like for real?
Probably not the way that I used to play like FIFA and college football and games like that, but not like these.
It's probably just casual.
Yeah,
casual. Yeah. I think in that essence, there's nothing that's gonna wow you. But if you ever get into a game like to where, like, so this game that I play is called Valorant, right? It's it's a first-person shooter game, and you get into like the lore behind each character, and it's like this whole little thing, right? When you get into like the actuality of all the gaming and the developing of it, it becomes a fun little side like hobby. And then you see like the very high level players and how they're able to execute. It's fascinating and it's admirable. And so like I get why they do it. Like I don't look at like my sons will be like, oh man, did you see Tenz TENZ is a dude who's like super dope. And that he's like one of the best shooters out there, and it's just like, did you see Tenz in the championship? And I'm like, no, I'm not watching that shit. What I'm saying? I'll catch a stream every now and then, but I'm not gonna watch it. But they like him like that, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, yo, did you see Robert Orr hit the game winner?
Yeah.
It's the same.
Now you're talking my language. You got a guy from my generation. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same vibe, man. But yeah, man, it's fine. I would advise you to just try it. Try to get into a game and then watch somebody who's really good at it. Even if it's college football, look up like who's the best at college football and watch him do it, and you'd be like, yo, that's a different level. That's kind of all right.
All right, Aaron, you know what? I'll give it a shot.
Yeah. There you go. You gotta step into you gotta accept the new age, dog. Like we're at the precipice of this new age. You just gotta accept
lean in.
Yeah, lean in, man.
I'll give it a shot. Genuinely, I'll give it a shot.
Which game you gonna go for? Which one you gonna watch first?
Well, I feel like it's got to be one of these games where it is a first-person shooter where I am kind of wowed by the skill because, like, the college football, even though I'm not good at this college football 25 yet, I think I would get boring. I'd get bored watching that.
Have you seen Kurt Bankert do it though? Do you know who he is?
No.
So he played, I think, at Virginia,
Okay.
and then he was on the Falcons and Packers practice squad for a little while. He was like, I think he got into one game in the NFL.
Okay.
He was an NFL quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And he now is a streamer and has been playing college football. And he's like, okay, they're in cover 2. I'm going to hot route this guy to a corner. This guy's going to run an out right here, and I'm going to change that to 8 yards. And he just dices people.
So he's just like an offensive coordinator.
Dude,
genius.
it's actually crazy. And
Okay.
on every single play, he's like adjusting the plays to do exactly. And he's like, boom, right here. And like, it's awesome.
Could you use that for like film or anything, Arian? Like it
was useful. I remember when I was in college, they started this little program that was like on a device. It felt like a football thing. It was for quarterbacks to recognize coverages, and so it's very realistic in the sense of those are actual plays that people run, right? Like so, like when, and that's why it's different. So like I never forget it. So I was playing against one of my dudes I played it with in Houston. It was my rookie year. Went over to his house and we was playing Madden against each other, right? And so when I'm on offense, and he was a linebacker. So when I'm on offense and he's on defense, we both locked in because we know what we doing, right? So like, okay, if I pick a play, I'm picking a play for a certain down and distance, right? Because I'm thinking like an offense. This is what I did, right? So if I got a two tight end set, whatever the case may be, he picks his defense in concordance with that. And then as the play runs, I'm looking, okay, I look at the safeties. Okay, we got 2 high here. It's most likely, either a cover 2 or they could switch it, or whatever the case may be. Right? That I'm reading it like that, and it's very realistic in the sense of they run cover 2, they run cover 4, they run cover 3, they run man to man, they run all this stuff. It's very realistic. So if like Big T's point, if somebody knows what they're doing, it's fascinating to watch. Now I don't have the give a shit to actually learn how to like manually change routes and hot routes and slide this guy in motion. I don't give a shit about that. So I've never really played those football games like that. But to watch it, like when I was playing against him and he was on defense and he was making all those adjustments and like it was a real thing. But when we switched, I didn't really know what the fuck I was doing on defense like that. And he didn't know what the fuck he was doing on offense like that. So it's funny watching those two different juxtapositions. But it is very realistic with some of the plays they run. And they have like different, they have like West Coast style offenses, stuff like that. Like it's very they run a lot of plays that we ran. Like West Coast style. The staple of the West Coast style is it's you want to set up a triangle in the middle of the field. So you either have 2 hook or flat players, and then somebody sitting in the middle if it's zone, right? That's a very realistic thing. Like the little drag routes, those are very realistic. Flood routes.
Bill Walsh.
Yep. Flood routes are cover 2 beaters, right? So if you have if you have a cover 2, you want to have somebody high, you want to have somebody mid, you want to have somebody in the flat, and that's a cover 2 beater. Those are all real things. And so like when you're running and you're picking plays, like these are some of the plays that Cats is running.
I'm in the worst spot possible on college football, which is I'd rate myself a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
I'm very good on offense, pretty bad on defense. And I enjoy playing online. All the like Brandon and guys that are, older don't want to play online. They just
play the computer.
This is between them and the computer.
Yeah.
But I like playing online. And I'm good enough that guys that aren't that good, I'll kill them. But I'm getting to the point now that I'm playing these. I imagine they're probably 14 years old, and they're just kicking my ass.
Yeah.
And it's like, and now, so then you drop down a level, and then you go kill the guys that suck, and then you come back and you get killed.
Yep.
So I'm in this Sisyphus, spot where I
pushing the stone up the hill. Yeah. It's quite a reference.
Only time that has been referenced.
Yeah. I am in college football purgatory right now.
Credit to all the people in the room who got the reference.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's going to be 14-year-olds that hear this clip heard around the world. These motherfuckers are ageist, bro. Like we started this video game shit. You know what I'm saying? It's the fucking thanks I get. I be playing my video games online, and they'll be like, "Hey man," they just hear it on my voice. I got a little deeper voice. You know what I mean? I'm not like them. and they start to recognize it after, because you got to give comms. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, he's over here on this side. He's over here, right? And they start to like, hey man, how old are you, man? I'll be like, let's not talk
Don't worry
about
it.
Yeah, it's not important,
Yeah.
man. Just, you know what I mean? Plant the spike, get to your site, dog. And then, they just start, man, you too old for this game. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean, bro? What am I supposed to be doing right now? You know what I'm saying? I don't have a job. Like, what am I supposed to be doing? You know what I mean? Like, I'm supposed to be doing what I'm doing. Playing video games, enjoying my life. I got this little fucking rugrat telling me I need to get off the sticks. And I'll be whooping their ass too, though. Don't get it twisted.
That is surprising that you're whooping their ass, because I do feel like your peak gamer age is probably like 15. And I remember I got a brother who's 10 years younger than me. And I feel like, when he got to be like 15 is when I stopped playing against him.
I think it's 18, 19. Freshman year of college. Freshman year of college is the most video games I've ever played.
I almost flunked out because of the college football. I think it was 2006 because we had a dynasty with all 4 guys in our room.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's like, hey, you got a game against Penn State,
yep,
or you have econ.
Yeah,
and we're
advancing the week.
We're simulating if you don't play.
Yep.
So then I just skip class and play the game.
My freshman year was 2015, but we were still playing the old NCAA game that came out in 13.
Mm-hmm.
And so we would have it and people came to my dorm every single day to play, and we'd have 4 or 5 dudes in there, and we would play for 6, 7, 8 hours just every day.
And they're recruiting.
Yeah.
You recruit until like 2 a.m, 3 a.m.
So the recruiting on this new game, I can't play Dynasty. The recruiting makes me feel like I have a second job.
I haven't started that yet. I haven't done that.
I don't like it. It's too realistic, bro. It's like, so you have to fill out your whole recruiting board, and then you've got this kid, you follow him on social media, and then you've got
one of the first times I think I've heard you call me bro. I could be wrong, but like, you just hit, hey bro, this.
I feel like I probably have. I don't know, but you've got and you've got to go to an in-home visit and do this, that, and the other. It's a whole, and you got to do that for 40 kids.
You got to charm the mom.
You can do you can do. So there's different levels.
Riz her up.
Bro, there's different levels of like how hard you can recruit a kid. So it's like you can send the house, which is like you do an in-home visit, you do all this stuff, and you like really go after him. And then there's like you go to his game, and then there's you just DM him.
That's wild.
That's
dude,
too much.
And then on Road to Glory, which is the career mode, you get messages from like your academic advisor. It's like, don't forget to study this week because your GPA's dropping. And then there's one from I believe her name is Audrey in each simulation. Audrey messages you and like, hey, there's a party tonight. It's at midnight though. Like, I know it's past your curfew. Like, are you coming? And I was like, hell yeah, I'm coming.
Audrey's a bad girl name.
So Audrey messages you, and if you're like, no, I'm not going, what are you doing?
I actually had an Audrey in college.
I bet. Was she a bad girl?
Nice.
She was like a solid 6.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I enjoyed it.
But yeah, there's all sorts of stuff on this game, dude.
So there is science behind this. So studies suggest that the peak age range for esports players is between 16 and 25. So that's like when your cognitive and visual abilities are firing on all cylinders.
Your frontal cortex is almost formed.
They said, however, another study found that the age range of esports players in their sample was from 13 to 47, which would make it around 20 years old. So they're saying like the peak when you're at your best is probably around like 23-ish. That's probably a peak. And then there's this other study that said video game players are between the ages of 18 and 34. I'm sorry, 36% of players are between 18 and 34. And this was surprising. 6% are 65 years old and older. Yeah. So I think as that statistic's going to grow because we grew up with video games. So I don't see me not playing video games. It's just a part of who we grew up with this shit. So it's going to continue.
Do you like
grow.
it the same that you always did?
I like it better now.
Okay.
Yeah, I like it better now because like when we grew up, you bought a video game and that was the game.
Yeah.
That was it. Like, and you had to wait for the next version or the next thing to come out. Nowadays, like Valorant, I didn't have to pay for. It was free. You download it and it's free. And then they send updates. So to me, that's the power of the internet and why video games are infinitely better. Because if something's wrong, and like now these video game developers, they're listening to their community, right? They'll be like, oh, this shit sucks. And if everybody's like, yo, this shit sucks, they'll send out an update and fix whatever sucks to keep you interested in the game. And that's what's really dope to me and all these updates. So even like NBA 2K, right? Like if you or Madden, the players, their ratings go up and down throughout the season. Player gets hurt,
Mhm.
rating drop, player balls out, his rating goes up. That kind of stuff keeps
Yeah.
active engagement and it just makes it more fun. And so I think that was an element that we didn't have growing up that I think is gonna be dope. And I think and the graphics to me are insane right now. Like
It's
just
so real.
I grew up on Mario Kart and shit like that,
Yeah.
which it's still bops. Don't
Yeah.
get it twisted. I have this what is called a little berry. You could play all these like little like old school games on all of them.
Oh, it's sick.
And it's still fun.
Yeah.
It's still fun, and maybe it'd be nostalgia, but where it's at now, that jump is crazy. So the jump 20 years from now, Lord willing, I'm still around. That's gonna be insane, and I can't wait for that
Yeah.
because I think it keeps you involved. That's why if you look at pictures, in my opinion, and just videos of older people when we were younger, they aged old because they just thought they was old. You know what I mean? I think there's something to be said about that. Like,
I think you are
young.
on the money on both of those things. So I bought the PS5 and the college football game. It's the only game I have right now. A girlfriend came home and she's like, football's already started. I'm like, yep, it's preseason. It's preseason game. But she like just did a quick glance at the screen and thought it was like a real note. I was playing as Notre Dame.
Oh,
she thought it was real. And I'm like, and then
That's
she's
crazy.
like, oh, you got it. This is video games. And then you're right. Like I remember, so my parents are grandparents now. My dad's 70, my mom's 60 something. So they're like the ages that my grandparents were. And my grandparents looked so much older than my parents.
Mhm.
Like now, granted, they were my Nana was smoking probably 4 or 5 packs a day. Probably had something to do with it. But yeah, I do think that previous generation like aged worse than our parents.
There's those videos that go around. There used to be like in the 80s or the early 90s of like what high schoolers looked like. And
They were men.
They look old.
They were men.
They look old.
Yeah.
How the fuck they look so grown,
Yeah.
dog? Like it's weird, dog. But
They probably didn't
I
have
don't know.
microplastics in their balls. Having endocrine problems.
So microplastics is actually helping the youth.
Yeah.
The fountain of youth.
Yeah.
Love to see it, man. I wanted to get into a couple of Big T's lists that he sent over, man. Go ahead and crack it off, Big T. I know you got some stuff. for us.
Well, Chief, I know definitely saw this, and I'm sure you did as well. Kamala debuting her new accent in
Oh
Atlanta
yeah. Yep.
Hold
after
on, let me.
the Meg the Stallion. Have you not seen it?
I have not seen it.
Okay, play it.
Okay, let me play this joint real quick.
Excited for the live reaction.
And maybe you could play it in the pod.
Oh
Mac.
yeah.
I saw somebody put the side by side of Hillary. I think it was
Yeah.
in 16 or maybe it was 2008 where she did like an even worse.
It was
one.
16.
It was 16.
Yeah.
She got real Arkansas on it.
And you all helped us win in 2020, and we're going to do it again in 2024. Yes, we will.
I don't know her. All right. So I don't know her. It's hard to say because every so often, like, people are very, I guess, surprised by code switching. So I do it to a certain extent on this podcast, right? I don't talk to y'all how I talk to my boys. Right? It's not the same. There's a little bit of difference, but it's around the same, right? It's a different, right? To communicate effectively to your audience, you have to change like some of your diction. Like I said, I don't know her.
Mm-hmm.
This does seem a little forced, but like I said, it would be me making a judgment on, like, I don't know how she talks when nobody's around. So
When you do that, you said you call it color switching?
code
switching.
Yeah.
Do you do that consciously? Because like a lot of my college friends are Canadian, and if I hang out with them for a weekend, by the end of the weekend, I sound, like I just, you just get in that, you pronounce your O's a little bit differently, and I was wondering if it's, and I don't even realize that I'm doing it necessarily.
Well, yeah, because language is a cultural
Yeah.
thing, right? So how I bet Big T, like if you go around where you grew up, dog, like you're gonna start being a little bit more lazy with your words, right? And you gonna start talking like down there, right?
I do that a little, but it's
obviously.
mostly intentional. Like I'm doing it kind of as a joke. But
Oh, got you. Well, like So the way we communicate, the way I communicated with my family and my peer group growing up is very different than I would communicate with the public at large. And like, so for instance, I remember we was with the quarterbacks. So the quarterbacks, they was all white on my team. This was in Houston, right? Like, I would go hang out with them during like special teams and stuff like that. While everybody's doing special teams, I would go hang out with them and just pick their brains, do the little games with them. And uh after practice one day, I broke it down. You know how you in the middle of practice you break it down. And I was just talking my shit. It's like, hey dog, we got to do this, we got to do this, whoop, whoop. And then I break it, and then I'm walking off the field, and he comes up to me, goes, "Hey, why do you do that?" And I said, well, "Do what?" He said, "Why do you talk like that?" He's like, "That's not how you talk." And I was like, "That is how I talk." I was like, I change it for you." He's like, "Well, why do you do that? That's kind of fake." I'm like, "It's not fake. It's code switching." I was like, it's what we've done to adapt, because traditionally the way we talk is viewed as uneducated, right? So the way, like, if oh, he talks ghetto, right? You'll see it in some of the comments in some of the Macrodosing. You hear it all the time. Like, I see that shit. I've been seeing that shit for years, right? Since my whole life. He talks ghetto. They talk ghetto, right? And when ghetto is just, it's a euphemism for black slash uneducated. And so that correlates to the workplace as well. So you'll hear a lot of black folks talk about code switching. We don't talk how we usually talk in front of corporate or whatever the case may be. And y'all could understand it to a certain extent. There's certain phrases you shouldn't say or whatever the case may be, but it's an entire dialect that we tone down in order to communicate with people. And so it's very prevalent amongst black folks. I've do my, say, like my dad sometimes. Like, I remember he used to go to work. I used to call him, and he'll be like, "Hello." I'm like, "Man, if you don't cut that shit out," and it's a joke,
Yeah.
right? It's a joke because if people feel more comfortable if you talk to them in a tone and a dialect that they understand and they're comfortable with. Whereas if they have a preconceived notion of what ghetto or black sounds like, studies show that so there was a study in Northwestern, right? That that said that the job applicants, so they put out these job applicants with the exact same resumes, right? And all of the names were Jamal Williams, Shakita Richardson, wooty woo, right? All perceivably black names, right? And then they had another one who was, Betty, whatever the case may be, Nicole Smith, whatever, right? Perceivably white names. And by and large, the white names got more callbacks than the black names with the exact same resume. There's like an unconscious, or some sort of subconscious bias for that happens in our society that we're aware of, and that's why black folks code switch. Now, say all that to say, I don't know if that's what Kamala's doing. I know a lot of the times politicians placate to black audiences. They'll go to black churches, even though they don't got no rhythm. So I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I know that a lot of the narrative is she's not black, she's Indian. And to me, it's just more nonsense. But who knows if she's faking the funk or not? Yeah, I tend not to trust politicians anyway.
Yeah.
But I don't know enough to say if that she's really doing that or not. But there is some validity to switching how you talk.
Yeah,
That's
I
real.
saw something, I can't remember where I saw it, but it was like people being critical of her, being like, "Oh, she's Indian when she needs to be and she's black when she needs to be." It's like, well, she's both. So like, why would, like that? Like, I don't know. I feel like that was like I had a lot of problems with Kamala Harris, but that's not one of them. So
yeah, I agree. I agree. And being biracial in America is it's a very interesting dynamic, because like I'm biracial. My mother's Mexican. My mother's Mexican, my father's black. And it's an entirely different, we can have a whole topic on this, but in short, it's a very lonely place because America's very culturally infused. So black folks have a distinct culture. Indians have a distinct culture. Mexicans have a distinct culture. And we live in a melting pot where those things kind of overlap. And so when I was growing up, I grew up around predominantly Mexicans at first. And so There was like me and like 2 or 3 other black kids, and it was very clear I didn't quote unquote fit in, right? I wasn't one of them, and they made sure that we knew it, right? Kids are assholes, and so it very quickly made me pick a side, right? And this was right in the 90s, right? So not that long ago, but it was pretty recent. And so kids do that. Kids draw cultural lines. Kids draw race lines. I mean, my daughter, uh she's in kindergarten, and she's a little darker skin, right? I have some light skinned kids, and I have a darker skinned child, and she's my darkest child. And she comes home crying one day, and she said, "And we, why you crying?" She said, "My best friend told me I couldn't play with her because my skin's darker than hers." And so it's still prevalent, right? It's still, and we had to, go through that whole thing. And she went through a stage where she was ashamed of her skin because all of her friends were a little lighter, which is a whole different topic. Like I said, we can get into a lot of, but like being biracial is a very real experience, because even when I'm hanging out with black folks, they'll remind me I'm not 100%, right? They'll remind me, like, they'll call me the Mexican, you know what I'm saying? Because shit like that, right? And it's all in jest, but there's some truth behind those jokes. So like being biracial in America is it can be a very lonely space, but no, it's a space that nobody's gonna want to hear you unless you also biracial.
Yeah.
Like nobody cares. And so I could empathize with it. Like I've made my peace with it years ago, but it's a very real issue that people deal with.
And you don't, it sounds like I would have assumed that is changing, because again, going back to my grandparents, so this is like 80 years ago, but it was like, you don't talk to Italians, you don't talk to Protestants. And then, because that was how it was divided. This is like, the south side of Boston way back. Like, my grandmother was engaged to a different guy, and they broke it off because he was a Protestant. And it's like, that, yeah. And that's like, worked out for me. I'm sitting here. But I'm about to say, the whole but
shout out to her for being prejudiced.
Yeah, well, it wasn't her call. It was like her parents were like, you will be excommunicated from our family if you marry that guy. And so
shout out to prejudice. Yeah.
But but now it's just like, I don't think anybody thinks of like, so we're all just kind of white, like it doesn't, I don't look at somebody and be like, oh, you're something different than me because you go to a different church, or your parents were from Sicily instead of, Dublin, so I was wondering if on other fronts, if that was being more relaxed, but it sounds like it's not, which sucks.
I mean, it's better than what it was when I grew up. Like I used to get in fights a lot when I was younger. I got called the N-word, I don't know how many times. And granted, my kids go to private school. I went to public, so it still could be. I'm just not in touch with the actual what's on the ground as much as I was. I grew up in the inner city, and now I live in the suburbs, and so it's fairly chill out here. And it's more subtle now. Like you just get, I feel the looks, right, but it's not really demonstrable. But people still feel it. Like if you, I can't ever deny somebody's experience. So even like these conservative, Christian white men, right? That's your experience. I'll do my best to try to understand where you're coming from, right? And if you feeling ostracized because they're persecuted, I'll hear you out. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to knock you, but it's still America, and America is still very race driven. It's very segregated still. If you look at the demographics of where people live, it's very segregated. Black folks live with black folks, white folks live with white folks. And it's spread. But if you look at the percentages, the actual percentages, it's pretty segregated still. And I don't know. I think it's just one of those things. America, if people still don't think we live in a racist society, or where race matters, just look at all of the boxing matches. Anytime a black dude faces a white dude, or a white dude faces a Mexican dude, watch the divide and just feel the energy on how the teams start to get. It's still real, dog. You still rooting for a squad. It is what it is. Like, I don't think there's wrong with it, honestly. Just admit it. I think if you admit your prejudices, we can talk to him. Huh?
You like root for your guy? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Like I'm rooting for the black dude. I'm sure y'all root for the white.
Hand up if there was another Larry Bird type of guy that came along, I would like that guy.
Luca. Luka. You can't tell me y'all don't look at Luka and be like, hey, yo, that's our guy.
I gotta say, I don't look
It's
at him like
different.
that.
It's different. It's because he's not American.
He's not American.
Okay, who's y'all?
We don't
guy?
got it.
There are a bunch of great
okay.
white basketball players right now, but none of them are American.
Yeah.
Well, Dalton Connect, he's coming. That's my guy.
Hey, listen, he'll be my guy because he's a Laker. Hey, when Dalton Connect got drafted to the Lakers, I'm a big Laker fan, right? And he's a big Tennessee fan. And so when Dalton Connect got drafted to the Lakers, Big T texted me, he said, Arian, it's go time.
A little handshake emoji. Yeah.
And he fucking balled out in summer league.
Yeah. Well, and the Bulls drafted a kid who I can't think of his name right now. It's a very like Lithuanian sounding name, but he's from Barrington. He's from like a half hour outside the city. But even in my head, I'm like, I'm gonna have to remind myself that he's an American and he's a hometown kid. Yeah.
So y'all don't root for European whites like you do American whites?
Nah.
No, I don't care.
No.
That's interesting.
Yeah. It would have to be like a Larry Bird. Like he's from some rural Indiana.
So when was your last that's our white guy? That's our guy.
Kyle Korver.
Really?
Kyle Korver was one of my favorite basketball players growing up because he played for the Hawks and he was fucking unbelievable shooter.
He had a stint with the Bulls too.
Yeah. But like, who was the last great American
white guy?
Matthew Delo. Oh no, he's not.
I'm trying damn, I thought y'all was rooting for Luka, man.
No, he's Australian.
Also, like, not that great.
Yeah. Stockton, but he was.
I mean, now we're going.
That was way. That was way back in that it was Bulls and Jazz. So I was always like against Stockton because we had Jordan.
So right now you've got Tyler Hero, Austin Reeves. This says Chet Holmgren, but isn't Chet Holmgren like half? Isn't his somebody black in his family?
Oh, I didn't know that. I knew that about the guy in the Knicks who is
Hartenstein.
Yeah,
but that's when he went to the Thunder. Chet Holmgren said like my bright skinned twin or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, I didn't know that. I really thought y'all had more than this. I'm really
it's not our game.
Kind of disappointed. I thought
you gotta watch hockey.
Oh, he put me on, buddy. What's his name?
Connor McDavid.
That motherfucker. Crazy good. Like how long till it's like, okay, he better than Gretzky? How long?
He probably does have to win at least one. Gretzky's got records that'll never be broken. Like he's got the stat where he's the all-time leading goal scorer, at least for now. And if he never scored a goal, he'd still have the most points ever, just based on assists. So Gretzky will never really be touched. But McDavid's a more talented player than him. Like he's faster, he's got a better shot. It's like your jaw just hits the ground. Like I probably watch 40 Oilers games a year, and I go to bed early. So I make it a point to watch McDavid on TV because he's that good. He
was showing me. We went to a Rangers game, and he was showing me, and I was like, "Yo, this is fun." He was like, "Oh, you haven't seen shit. Check this out." And he showed me a little clip of him, and it's like it gave me the old feel. I don't know if y'all, maybe you do, Chief. You remember like when N1 mixtapes were first. The first, so you know that feel of like, nigga, this is special. This is special. It gave me that feel. It gave me that feel of like, man, this is special.
I think you just came up with our last white guy that we rooted for as a professor. The N1 mixtapes. Yeah, that was the guy. He was our last basketball guy.
I'm really fucked up because I thought y'all had more. I thought y'all had more than that.
It's been a while. It probably has. The last like truly elite one was probably Stockton. Like all NBA type of guy is probably him.
Wow.
Yeah. And he wasn't like cool. You know, like Stockton, he had the weird, like stupid haircut, and he didn't like.
What about Steve Nash?
He's Canadian.
That's true.
Yeah. So
I mean, every one of these guys.
I didn't know. Yeah. I didn't know it was like a nationalist thing. I thought it was.
But you know what? Like that doesn't apply to football though. Or baseball. It's really just a basketball thing.
Well, baseball, there's a ton of white guys, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Football, I feel like
white wide receivers, maybe.
It would have to. So like, it'd have to be like Cooper DeJean. It'd have to be a white corner or something.
Yeah.
So like CMC, y'all are like.
Oh yeah. That's true. That's true.
Man, it's got to be running back, receiver, DB.
Shout out Jason Sehorn.
Yeah.
The last great one.
That's like
Didn't they just draft one? There's a white dude from Iowa.
Cooper DeJean. He went to the Eagles.
How's he doing?
He slid down the draft boards a little bit because of his color, I think. So he probably should have gone top 10. Where'd he go? Like 18?
Teens or 20s.
Yeah, he slipped.
He was first round?
Yeah.
Wait, no. Did he fall out of the first round?
I'm pretty sure he was first round.
He was 40th overall pick.
Oh,
No, yeah,
damn,
he went
yeah.
to he went to the second round,
Wow.
I think, because he was supposed to be surefire first round pick.
I remember seeing mocks at him going like 8th.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Where'd he go? Where who
Was it
got him?
Pittsburgh?
Eagles.
Eagles, yeah.
Okay.
Oh man, that's one of the worst.
Why is that the worst?
I mean, bro. Eagles fans are very passionate, dog. And if you nice, and they'll love you.
Mhm.
But if you not, there's no, time for improvement. You gotta go, or they're gonna be on your tail, bro.
Our crew's coming down week 2 for Bears Texans.
Here?
Down in Houston, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're doing
Yeah,
something with Portillo, so you'll have to give us some spots to go, or if you want to come tailgate, it'd be good to see you.
Oh, you gonna tell the guy at the Houston
Yeah.
game?
Yep.
I'm
yeah.
there.
Oh, awesome.
That'd be
Yeah.
sick.
Also,
I'm definitely sure.
Also, Arian, put
Tailgating
this on your
is one
calendar.
of the-
Saturday, January 11th, the Oilers are here in Chicago. We got to go.
That's so far,
Just-
dog.
just-
I
just
don't
put it
think
on your
I've
calendar.
ever planned 6 months in advance. But hold on, January.
You don't
that's a whole
actually
nother
need
year.
to, but we should go to that.
I'll pull up what January.
11th.
All right.
Because I've never seen McDavid in
11th.
person either.
Fellas, I'll be in charge of sourcing tickets.
Okay. And Chief got us tickets to the Preds Blackhawks game this past season, and we were second row off the ice right behind the Predators bench.
All right, I can't guarantee that for McDavid. It's a little easier when it's the Preds,
sure.
but I can.
I'm saying that if you're taking control of that, you've done good for me in the past.
Yeah.
All right. If you can secure some front row seats, the price don't matter for that game.
Oh,
I'll take care of me and Big T.
okay. Well, I was going to try to treat you.
Oh, well, so do that.
Okay. But I can't. I don't know if I can treat you to front row, but I'll do my best.
Best 2 words in the English
Yeah.
language is new and free. man. I'll let you,
Free's
boy.
good. Free, there's me.
What else you had on your list, dog?
Chief, you'd be interested in this. Did you see the story about the Army and The Rock?
I don't think so.
So the U.S. Army paid The Rock $11 million, him in conjunction with the UFL,
Okay.
to help spur recruiting efforts. Apparently, we need more people in the Army right now.
Bring back the draft.
Don't do that. And they need. You're older than I thought you were, so you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
So they're like,
Damn.
Yeah,
Well, no,
wait, I don't know if that
no. When
That's
Chief said he
fine.
was, when you said you were 38
Damn.
earlier, I almost mentioned it. I thought you were like 33, 34.
I just got great hair.
Yeah, I would have
Yeah.
guessed
Yeah.
way
That's
younger.
true.
So.
Yeah, and I've gained some weight, so I got like the wrinkles don't show up as much.
I think
got the
it's a
face fat.
compliment
Yeah,
to
no,
you.
it is. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Just this young, cool guy with good hair.
exactly.
Yeah.
So the Army paid the UFL and The Rock $11 million to do like a recruiting effort. And they did, I guess, a cost-benefit analysis, some sort of retroactive thing on their deal. And they said it actually led to a projected loss of 38 enlistments because the money they spent was so poorly used that it actually counted for negative enlistments.
Yeah.
So they're trying to get money back from The Rock right now.
Go collect.
Yeah, because he apparently missed some of the social posts or whatever they had for him. So The Rock may owe the Army some money for doing such a shitty job of getting enlistments.
Number one, I think he's got it. Okay. I think The Rock can stroke him a check and be fine with, give him the full $11 million back. Also, maybe it's not The Rock's fault. Maybe it's, the last 25 years of.
I didn't know we were hurting for guys.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
What 18-year-old in today's world is looking at The Rock and being inspired to go into the Army? What 18-year-old would look at The Rock? Like, that's our generation of like cool guy, and now we too old to be.
They need to
moved
be
by
on Twitch
influences.
streamers.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like, go get one of these
Phase
young
or whatever
boys.
that
Like,
guy's
yeah.
name is. Yeah.
Kai Sinat.
Yeah.
Kai Sinat, go get one of him and be like, yo, sell yourself out to enlist young kids to go fight another man war. Not The Rock, though.
Yeah. You'd think that
Fuck,
that some of those skills would be transferable too. Like you can, if you're good at this game, you can probably
Drones.
fly a drone. Yeah.
That's fucking funny.
That's real though.
I think that's yeah.
That's fucking-
They should be in the chats being like, all right, we got a job for you.
Yeah.
Come this way. Yeah.
Do you like bombing on
Yeah,
Call of
yeah.
Duty? Oh, buddy.
We got you. Let me tell you about
Like-
Ukraine.
Like free college. And yeah. So drones.
That's your intro back. We took a
I
small
don't-
break.
I don't know how to come back here because Big T had a side story to tell, and then we went off at a tangent, and I had to re up my coffee, and I didn't know how to come
Circle
back here.
back.
We took
Yeah.
5. How's that coming?
Well, my coffee.
Yeah.
Listen, bro. There are a few times in life where you know you have hit a juncture, and your life has changed, and my life has changed. Coffee has been so in the break we were talking about the limitless drug with Adderall, right?
Mhm.
I feel like coffee does that for me. I get in a fucking zone. You know what I mean? I get in the zone, and I said this early on his podcast.
Wait till you
like,
try
why
Adderall.
I don't think I can though. I don't think I can do that shit. But it just allows me. Coffee allows me to be in the moment. And I struggle with that sometimes, and because my mind just is everywhere, and coffee just really allows me to be here. I don't know what it is about, but you can feel it. And also, I realized that energy drinks are not the same. The way coffee hits you is not how
Agreed.
a Red Bull hits you.
Agreed.
It's just not the same. And so they're different worlds. And so I had an energy drink the other day because I was really low and I couldn't have time to make coffee. So I grabbed the energy drink. It was like you could just taste all the sugar, and it's just ass. It's not the same. So anyway, long story short, Big T, I am here.
How do you take it
And
since you're a new coffee guy?
so I'm on my coffee journey right now, right? So
I'm curious.
So my mother has been my first greeter into, she's like the Walmart greeter, welcome me into the store. She had me start with Folgers and hazelnut cream. I've stuck pretty, I'm pretty walking that lane right now. I have ventured off. I've tried vanilla, what is it, vanilla cream, something like that. Creamer. I tried cinnamon roll creamer. And so I'm slowly starting to venture out. I know there's other roasts out there. I've just been really busy this summer. So I'm gonna try different roasts. I'm gonna try different combinations. I'm gonna do a whole bunch of different shit. But right now it's just regular Folgers coffee with hazelnut cream.
So I'll tell a quick little personal story. There was a time in my 20s where my life and career was not going well, and I had like no money, like none. And so I was like, I gotta turn my life around. I gotta find something to be positive about. So I would just be like very thankful for my cup of coffee in the morning, because that would be like probably the best part of my whole day that was coming. And,
it is the best part of waking up.
Yeah, it's a great slogan. So I'm gonna bring you some of mine down to Houston when we come down. I'll bring you some of my stuff that I think is the best. I don't want to give them a free ad, but I'll bring you some.
That's the beauty about coffee and coffee drinkers, right? Everybody knows you have now entered a world in which there is no returning.
Yeah.
And they're just extremely like, hey, my brother, welcome. And I'm going to welcome you with a little slice of what I've been living with.
Yep.
And everybody has their go-to, like, you got to try this with this, that. And I'm like, it's overwhelming. I'm like, whoa, I got you. I would do it, but I got to do it one by one. You know what I'm saying? I can't just drink all this shit. And then they got these joints where like you can get flights of coffee, you got different tastes, and it's amazing, man. I'm really liking this journey, and I feel like a real adult now. I think
that is a thing too. That is a thing where it's like, all right, now I feel like my dad.
My dad, 1,000%. Though, because I remember my dad drinks his coffee just straight black, right? I used to think he was.
Oh, that's a real man.
That's
a real man.
Because like I used to smell it, and I'm like, yo, why would you willingly put this in your mouth, dog? This is disgusting. He's like, it just is what it is, and he just drank that shit black. And I don't know. I always thought like, okay, I'll be an adult when I have to drink coffee. Like, and I was, I'm 38, tried coffee for the first time the other day, and I guess this is it. The
other day?
Yeah, this is the first time. I've like tasted it, but I've never like drank it. My first cup of coffee, it was live on this podcast.
It was last week.
Oh, wow.
You can see it. You can see the like, what the fuck is that? You can see the joy and
the funniest thing is like his first drink was like some like mochaccino like butternut crunch from Starbucks.
Okay.
Yeah. And we were like, yeah, that's not really coffee. He's like, yeah, it's all right. And then he had Folgers with hazelnut, and he was like, this is the best thing ever.
This is it.
It was so funny.
Yeah. Wait till you find out about coffee ice cream. You think? Oh.
Well, I'm not big on sweets. I'm not a sweets guy. Like, I have a spice and a salty tongue. Or if it's that, like, you know, they say sweet tongue. I don't know what the
sweet tooth.
Whatever the comparison is to that. For spice, and salt. I love
Okay.
spicy and salty shit. But yeah, sweets just never really do it. I
Okay.
just don't like too much sugar.
Okay, fair enough.
Like I can feel it, yeah. But yeah, man. So was that it on your list, or do we have anything?
There were a couple other stories. You see the Bama receiver who got caught with 40 pounds of weed in his suitcase.
Nah,
Hell of an NIL deal.
Yeah, so he played at Bama a few years ago, and then he played, I think, at Texas for a year. Then he was out of football, and he was going to go to UCF, I think,
Okay.
and was flying to Orlando and put 40 pounds of marijuana in his suitcase and just sent it through TSA. Like, they weren't going to find it. And believe it or not, they did. But he's not. I think he's not going to jail. I think he got 3 years of probation.
Really?
Yeah.
Good for him. Well,
40 pounds.
40. How much? What does it even look like? Does it fit in
I
a
don't-
duffel bag?
It gotta be bricks, dog.
31 vacuum sealed bags in his luggage.
Whew. Do you remember the Bears wide receiver from this is probably 15 years ago? He got it was like a mate like he was like the fourth like a special teams guy. I'm blanking on his name.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. He had bricks. Like it was
Yeah.
cocaine, wasn't it?
he
Yeah,
had
I
like
know
he had like a ring. Like he was like the
yeah,
ring.
I was in
leader.
the league during that time. I was
Yeah,
like,
you probably were. Yeah.
God damn, bro, what you doing,
Yeah.
bro?
And then Nate Newton was big on that too. I feel like Nate Newton, the old Cowboy, I think he was like a right guard for the Cowboys in the 90s, all those
Yeah,
teams.
yeah,
like
yeah.
he
I
had
know
like
you're
they
talking
pulled him over. He had like a truck. full of weed.
Sam Hurd.
Sam Hurd.
was
That's
the
Sam
Bears
Hurd.
guy.
Yeah.
Yep. Sam Hurd. Yeah.
Did he go to like prison?
I think he did.
I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Oh,
Wasn't he?
hey.
He was on Hard Knocks, wasn't he? It was on Hard Knocks, I think. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but I think he was on Hard Knocks.
on the Bear. Well, maybe.
February of last year, he was released from federal prison.
Okay.
Hey, man, welcome back.
Did a decade behind bars after receiving a 15-year sentence.
I kind of think anybody who has a drug sentence should be out now.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a difference from smoking weed and like cocaine trafficking.
I mean,
I don't think so.
specifically for weed.
Yeah, weed's different.
Yeah. You want to talk about Kamala some more?
I think
A lot of people sitting in jail. And a few years ago, that was we didn't like her.
Yeah.
Let's get that. Let's get to that real quick. I don't think it's alcohol is worse, and we sell that willy nilly at stadiums.
Then cocaine.
Yes,
I've never
I'd
done
need
it.
to
I'm
look
afraid
into
of
that.
cocaine.
bro. Look at the deaths. Alcohol deaths are like 600,000 a year, dog. Something crazy.
Yeah, they tried to get rid of that. People revolted.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
it's. I mean,
I
think-
would say
but we've had-
I
we've
would
had-
say I'll look into like the data on that. But if cocaine was what percentage of the U.S. uses alcohol? 50s,
Well, this
60s.
is, well, I'm not saying open cocaine shops and have people doping up.
No, I know,
Right.
but I'm saying if as many people were using cocaine as do alcohol.
Well, that's not. You couldn't, right? Everybody would OD. My argument.
That's
is
what I'm
always-
saying.
No, my argument is always this. Well, we can't pretend like alcohol isn't dangerous. That's my argument, and we sell it and we regulate it. You can't buy it in certain quantities and amounts. You can't buy it on certain days in certain places, right? And there's a limit when like bartenders are instructed and institutions are instructed when somebody looks like you can't serve them legally anymore, right? That we regulate alcohol, right? We do regulate it, and we all abide by we're drinking this poison and it's slowly killing you, but enjoy yourself. You should be able to, as a libertarian, Big T, you should be able to kill yourself however you want to, whether it's with bacon, whether it's with alcohol, whether it's with cocaine, you're right, but we have to regulate it.
Big gulps.
I do mostly agree with that.
I mean, sugar. I mean, that is the biggest killer in the
Yeah.
United States of America is heart disease, and our diets are directly correlated to that. So we are killing ourselves, but we regulate that shit. We regulate sugar. We regulate all of that shit. But for some reason, I think I know the reason. But we police drugs and we vilify them, to me unjustly, when we use a lot of them for medicinal purposes, right? Heroin. We use heroin all the time medicinally.
We do?
We should-
Heroin?
Yeah, absolutely. What's the painkiller? Morphine. Morphine is heroin.
Yeah.
Well, them Percocets and all them shits, that's heroin. Opioids, that's heroin.
Yeah. Yeah. Essentially, yeah. You go from
And they are abused. Don't get me wrong.
Mhm.
They get abused, and like that's why there was an epidemic. But it mostly from bad regulation
Yeah.
policies. You got to
And
be able to regulate shit.
I don't have any data on this, but I would assume most of the cocaine deaths, at least in the last 15, 20 years, are because it's cut with something else.
Yeah.
You know, like
I
you're
could
dying
be.
from the fentanyl cut with it
Right.
as opposed to the cocaine itself.
I can
So
see
I don't know.
that.
You might have converted me on this. I'm not a coke guy. I'm afraid of coke. I'm afraid.
Oh,
of it.
I'm never
Yeah.
gonna put that shit in me.
Yeah.
Yo, give me fucked up. Hell no.
Yeah.
I'm scared. I'm scared. I'll be the dude that the first time he does it, he dies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It'll be at my funeral talking about something. He
Me
never
too.
wanted to do it, and then
Yeah.
one night, nah, he'll be
The
me.
old Len bias. Yeah.
Hell no, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't do it. But I'm just. I feel like anything. Society's like a little kid. If you tell them don't press the big red button, that's the first thing they're gonna do is press the big red button. And so there should be guidelines and rules, but you should be able to do what you want to do. I do believe in freedoms.
I won't say who in this office told me this today, but if you know people in this office, you can take a pretty good guess. Did you know there is like a caffeine powder that is like they sell it on Amazon that you can buy and like snort like if you're trying to like wean yourself off cocaine.
So when we were in Arizona for spring training, so February or March, they sold caffeine pills and caffeine powders at like next to the Snickers bar at the grocery store.
Yeah.
Yeah, like as you're checking out, be like, oh, well, I shouldn't have Coke, but maybe this will help. me."
Right.
Yeah, it's just caffeine pills.
So again, I won't say who told me that, but
Bet you I could guess.
you could take a pretty good guess. It's Diet Coke of
Yeah.
cocaine.
Yeah.
It's real Diet Coke.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is gonna sniff caffeine, bro?
I don't know. Keep drinking coffee. Maybe you'll find out.
Nah, man.
Aaron
I ain't
Foster
finna
in
be
2046.
I ain't finna be no dope head with this shit. I promise you that, man. Like,
How many
like,
cups you had today?
This is, I mean, depends on how you're defining a cup. This is big ass.
That's
so I
how
think-
many
That's a pot.
ounces is that? I think a cup is 8 ounces.
Oh, that's more than
That's
that.
got to be 20
Cups? No, it's not
No,
20 cups.
ounces.
Oh, yeah.
It's not
around
160 ounces. I'm not dumb as
that.
fuck.
Yeah.
So if that's- And you filled that up twice,
This is the second batch, yes.
so that'd be like 40. So 5
Mhm.
cups.
But I don't do it every day. I can't. I'm like I
Got to
said.
be buzzing.
I'm not. I feel great. I do feel great. It is a drug. You can feel it coursing through your veins and affecting your day for sure. But I'm not finna. I don't do it every day. I'm not finna be that into it. Maybe in the future I could be. But I just do it when I feel like I need it.
That's what I said about nicotine.
That's how it starts.
Yeah, because I had gone like 15 years without nicotine, and then I started having it again. I'm like, this is nice. So now
how do you ingest it?
I use like the breakers, the Lucy breakers, little pouches. So I don't like to smoke. But I was watching. You've seen Inglourious Bastards, Brad Pitt movie.
Yeah.
So he like does the snus where he snorts the nicotine. I feel like that's in my future at some point because he looked cool doing it. So
I
just
can't
get a little
do it.
snus. Organic. I'll get organic leaves, but I might end up snorting some nicotine.
Nicotine got its hooks in people, man. I can't do that shit.
It's a nootropic. Do you know that?
What is a nootropic?
Means it's like a mental stimulant. Like it like helps you focus. It gives you mental clarity. I'm doing it right now. I feel great.
Is that the pouch?
Yeah. Yep.
Man, glad you found you a niche, dog.
Yeah.
Oh,
Does
there's
it have
one.
any side effects? I know some of the ways that people ingest it, it's horrible, but does the actual nicotine bad for you?
No. There's that guy. I saw he did a segment on it. Andrew Huberman. You guys know who that is?
Vaguely.
Mhm.
He's like he's a neuroscientist out of Stanford who's got a huge medical based podcast, and he was talking about it. He's like, we really can't find anything wrong with it. It's usually like if you do like the long cut tobacco or you're smoking, all like the terrible side effects, like you're doing it for the nicotine, all those other methods, but all the side effects come from like the chemicals and the filler and all the other things that come along with it. If you're just doing the pouches, you're probably going to be okay, according to him and other scientists. The only thing they say is don't put it on the same spot of your gum every time for like 10 years. because you could have
So move it around.
Yeah, move it around, which I don't do. I put it in the same spot every time.
So why did it take so long for them to put it in something like this rather than smoking, which is obviously so bad for you?
I don't know. It's a great idea though. I think they synthesize it as opposed to getting it from a natural origin like the actual tobacco leaf. And I think this method of the pouches, I believe, took off in Europe, because I got a buddy who played pro hockey over there. He came back with them maybe like 6 years ago, right before COVID, and he's like, yeah, like this is it. And then you saw like other brands, and now Lucy, and there's like a lot more people coming into that space because it is wildly popular without some of the downfall, the side effects of other tobacco.
Interesting.
Yeah.
There's one more thing we got to talk about before we do Karen Reed. Did you see the report I sent this morning from Patriots training camp?
Oh, is that wait, no. Wait, what is it? Your boy. Yeah,
they're saying that Joe Milton is playing better than Drake May. They're in phase 1.
What are they doing? Hail Mary drills?
They said go read the Boston Globe beat reporter. He said you would not be able to tell who was the 3rd overall pick and who was the 6th rounder.
Are they in pads yet?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
But
so I bet you Joe Milton looks great against air.
He has to be like the greatest practice player in the history of sports.
Unbelievable.
Because he, at this point, has gotten Michigan, Tennessee, 2 very proud football programs, and the New England Patriots to buy into this. And there is film evidence that
he can't play.
It falls off.
Yeah.
Now, let me say, Joe is awesome. Great dude. I hope he fucking kills it. I hope he becomes a starting quarterback for the Patriots. But it's just like somehow in practice he must be the Tom Brady of practice.
He's much better arm.
His arm is unfathomable.
He can sling it better than anybody I think I've ever seen.
And then he throws it 80 yards and then does a backflip. Like, it's awesome. It's sick. But at some point you gotta put it all together.
This is one of those things and we'll see what happens. But like Anthony Richardson, when it was like, you're telling me that guy who couldn't hit a slant against Utah is the 4th overall pick in the draft because he's got a big arm. Like, you got to do more.
And if Milton had been like,
if he had transferred to
serviceable,
Florida,
well, just at UT, if he had been like fine, he would have been a 1st-round pick.
100%. You can't teach what he has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope he, kills it. I really, maybe this is the one. Is it?
Tom Brady kind of struggled in college.
He only really played 1 year, and he was like good.
Yeah, he won 20 games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the show where they're like, has this ever worked before? And he's like, no, but it might work for us.
I don't know.
What's it called? Arrested Development, I think.
Okay, yeah, I haven't seen that.
I haven't seen it either.
I've heard but
I've seen the clip.
Yeah.
So, so the reports are out there that he's killing it.
Man, listen, bro, I still believe in him. He's young. If he gets the correct coaching and tones his arm down and learns to put some touch on it, he can be a Pro Bowl quarterback. He absolutely can be. He has the arm strength. He just needs to understand coverages at a very high level. His instincts. You can train some of your instincts as a quarterback. I think he can be. That's all on him if he wants to work at it. You know what I'm saying? You can't never put any kind of anything in another man's heart. I can't test that. But he has the talent. You know that. Like you said, they're in phase 1 of the Joe Milton experience.
Yep.
Well, if Joe Milton stays there, he can be a high quality quarterback. He can be very, very good, dog. And his potential is it's limitless.
The last team that, it may have happened since then, but the last real notable example of a team drafting 1st-round quarterback and then drafting one later.
It was Kirk Cousins.
RG3 and Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
And the guy that got drafted later turned out to be, now part of that most of it was injury and horrifically run franchise and things like that. But
he was going to win the MVP, right? RG3, like wasn't he like in contention?
The year he got hurt, he was really, really good.
Yeah, they made the playoffs. Yeah,
he was cooking. I don't know if he'd won the MVP, but he was cooking. So.
Okay.
Yeah. I hope he does well, man. Shout
I
out
also
to Joe.
think Drake May
Me
kind
too.
of stinks. So if there was a guy to leapfrog, it might be Drake May.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, where Drake go to college? Drake May.
UNC.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So hold on. New England took 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah, they took him 3rd or 4th overall, and then Milton in the 6th round.
That's tough. Listen, bro. When you a rookie and you got another rookie that was drafted with way lower expectations, that is a fucking recipe for disaster. And you have a possibility to be a head case.
Particularly if 5 practices in, the Boston Globe is saying that guy's been better than you.
That's what I'm saying. But like it's like a recipe for a perfect storm because Joe Milton's talent, like I doubt people probably saw like, okay, cool, we got a quarterback in the 6th round. But when you see him live throw a ball, it's probably more impressive than you used to see like a Peyton Manning throw a ball live. It's that good.
He's the equivalent of the 13 seed that going into the NCAA tournament, everybody's like, you do not want to play that team. You do not want Joe Milton drafted with you if you're a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
Those are facts. And
He's a guy that the ball whistles.
Because you'll be favored, sure.
Yeah.
But they've got talent.
Mm-hmm.
They've got Jack Golke coming.
And it is one of those things where it's like at first Drake May is going to get like the preferential treatment
until
it's like that guy's a lot cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
That guy's a lot cheaper, so we'll roll with him and we'll find some way to get rid of Drake May.
I think it would be hysterical if Joe Milton became like awesome in the NFL, and I would love that.
It would bother me if the Patriots found another gem. I'll say that. As a Bears fan, my entire life has been like, I've been an advocate, being like, let's take 3 quarterbacks in the draft.
Teams should do that.
One
more.
of them should
teams
be good.
And teams should. The Bears, I would have seriously looked at drafting Caleb, and then who else was available
at 9.
So
well, you guys took
Penix wasn't.
Yeah, well, I'm sure the Bears were loading up, getting ready to take Penix at 9.
But who was so after that it was Bo Nix and stuff. But like if there are 2, if you have the number 1 and the number 6 pick, and there are 2 quarterbacks that you think,
take them both.
It's the only position that matters.
Yeah.
If you have a great quarterback, you will be good. You can figure the rest of it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Like teams should seriously. Nobody will ever do it, but somebody should try it.
This is a sports question that's going to sound like hate, but I'm just genuinely curious, and does my eyes deceive me? I'll be looking at, I guess, Tua, I ain't going to butcher his last name.
Tagovailoa.
There you go. So he just signed like a big old contract. Good, happy for him, great for his family. Hey, get every penny you can from that league, dog. But I just don't think he's that. I think he's okay.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I think he's okay. Like I look at some of the weapons he's had, and to me that is very indicative of his success. And I always look at quarterbacks that have that situation to where they excel because of the weapons around them, and that becomes the expectation for them. And so when business happens in the NFL and you no longer have those weapons, that's kind of when you shine and who you are really comes out. And it's why we know Patrick Mahomes is one of the greatest quarterbacks that have ever played this game and might be the best ever if he keeps trending this way, because his weapons disappeared and this man excelled. It's insane. But a lot of the times your productivity comes down, and that's what I'm just looking at. I look at Tua and I'm like, I don't really see it. You know what I mean? I see him having great weapons.
Here's on that same notion, because Jordan Love just got a big contract too. He had one pretty good year with Green Bay. Mm-hmm. He might be a very good quarterback. Probably is, because he plays for the Packers. But I don't understand, like, who is Miami in a bidding war with? You know, like, there's no rule that says you have to give him $400 million or whatever they gave him. Just be like, hey, we're going to pay you as if you're the 16th best quarterback.
I think that's agents, isn't it? That's like the advocating.
But it's like, hey, if you can get that on the open market, go get it. We still have Tyreek Hill and all these guys. We'll try to, we'll go get Jacoby Brissett.
He absolutely would get that on the open market, though.
I don't. If I were a GM and I wasn't convinced that he was like a Burrow or a Mahomes or something like that, I think I'd be like, hey, if you can get that on the open market,
but you don't even have to be though. Like, look what Kirk Cousins got. Like
Yeah,
that's true.
I don't understand why these. I guess I do understand you're taking a guaranteed $200 million and that is yours.
Yeah. Or like Jimmy Garoppolo got paid. It's
Right,
that guy,
but like
why are you paying him?
now,
He's replaceable.
I don't understand why at least one like top tier quarterback hasn't been like, I'm going to go to free agency, because it
Yeah,
hasn't
see what
happened
it is.
in.
Yeah.
I mean, who was the last one?
That actually left.
Like
I don't think there has been one.
I don't
Yeah,
know, there has
they
been
all
one.
sign extensions,
Yeah.
which makes sense because you're getting life changing money, and but they would get more if they went to free agency. You're risking a year or two of potentially getting injured and whatever, but
Yeah.
like Kirk Cousins got hurt and he got whatever he got.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
like,
I don't know.
but I mean, I understand taking the money early, but
Total. If you're the player, it's like the bet. Like Daniel Jones got big money.
yeah,
He's terrible. He's terrible.
Yeah.
So
Hey, the Giant fans, bro.
they know he's terrible. They know. They have to know. Even the
Oh,
GM.
no.
I saw the clip of that. The Hard Knocks. It was like, should we trade up for somebody? Imagine. And then they ultimately decided not to.
he was listening to his kid. His kid was like, Jaden Daniels, draft Jaden Daniels.
Yeah. But can you imagine? Then you got to go and see Daniel Jones, who just saw you like debating whether or not you should make a move for a quarterback.
I mean, the Falcons paid a quarterback $50 million and then called him 2 minutes before and said, hey, we're actually drafting a quarterback too.
That was wild.
That's
Thank
so-
you for that, because
I've-
now Roma Dunze is in Chicago.
They wouldn't have taken him,
You don't think?
although they would have been sick.
Yeah, we would have had a nasty offense.
That would have been really sick.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's the Falcons.
Mhm.
Who cares?
I love how you're not really a fan. You're like,
Like I am, but also like they've done
You're broken.
they have made no fewer than 25 decisions one after another that are somehow consecutively worse than the one before, and the first one was like the worst thing that any team could possibly do, and then they
let
just
me
get
guess. Let me guess what it is.
Oh, I don't. I'm just saying hypothetical. I don't know.
Oh,
but I
know
mean
what it
they've
is. It's
they've
that whack ass color combination on their jerseys. That little fading into that's
that's
horrible.
gone. They got rid of that one.
Oh, it's
the Michael
worst
Vick
thing.
ones were sweet. I don't know why they
Yeah.
went away from.
I'm glad they went back to black now
Yeah.
because the black is cool.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
you know they
I feel
were
you.
originally supposed to be red, black, and gold. It was supposed to combine Georgia and Georgia Tech's colors, and then they had like one tiny gold stripe on the helmet, and then that was it. And then they eventually
They're
got rid
like
of it.
Georgia Tech stinks. We don't want to be affiliated with that.
Them throwback Jones with the red helmets, dog.
That the
Oh.
red helmet had a tiny gold stripe on it.
Okay.
Bro, them some of my favorite uniforms.
Yeah.
bro.
I love
That's-
the
pretty.
Dirty Bird ones from the late 90s.
Yeah.
Those were
was
sweet.
it Jamal Anderson?
Yeah.
Dirty
Yep.
Bird.
Dirty Bird. It's a
I
great
hope he's
dance.
doing well, man. He was a big inspiration to me growing up, man.
Yeah?
Shout out to Jamal Anderson. Yeah.
That's like a different. I think he got like 400 carries in a year.
Oh yeah, it was insane.
He was
Yeah.
a workhorse.
Yeah. They used to ride running backs into the ground, man.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
It's like, all right, well, see you later.
Yep.
Thanks
for
for
your
those 3
services.
years. Yeah.
That's what I hate. I hate that about how they talk about running back is the hardest position in the NFL.
Yeah.
Physically, the hardest position in the NFL. And just there should be a cap on the amount of years you can sign a running back out the gate as a rookie. You can only sign running backs for 3 years. Because it's the data behind it is like what you're saying is like you don't want these cats to get paid.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying. That's what I'm
Yeah.
hearing. You know what I mean? And that would alleviate a lot of the tension. It would allow top tier running backs to get maybe 3 contracts, which is what you allow every
Other position. Yeah.
other position can do
Yeah.
that, but not running backs because the shelf life is just smaller. And like I feel bad for like Derrick Henry. Like think about like he should be able to get 2 or 3 contracts, but he's not going to.
Mhm.
Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, he got locked up behind New York. And it's just like these are talented cats that ain't allowed to get paid, and you got to work for pennies because your value is just much more than what your contract says that you are.
This is my other dumb brain NFL GM thought is that like everyone's chasing the quarterback. We got to have a quarterback. We got to have a quarterback, and you do. But there's so few like actual game changing ones. I feel like you're better off. It's probably easier, more predictable to just draft linemen and just we're gonna run the ball 70% of the time, and like you're never gonna touch it. We're gonna get 3 yards at a time, and we're just gonna have a stable of running backs. We're just gonna run it, and like you're gonna zig when everyone else is zagging.
Bro, this is what's funny to me about the NFL. And how I'll be like, it's a passing league. Woo-de-woo.
Yeah.
You're not wrong because come
January.
playoff
Yeah.
time, that's exactly what everybody does. That's what
Right.
everybody does. You know, exceptions here and there. You'll see a team still toss it around, but you play good defense and you run the ball. That's what
Yeah.
it is. It's the same recipe, same formula.
And like
But
those teams with Zeke and Dak, when Dak first came in, but they just had like they had Martin and they had all these great linemen, and they're just like, we're just gonna run the ball, and like we'll give Dak like play action, 2 reads, and like we're gonna win a lot of games doing that.
America's love affair with the Cowboys, I would probably never understand.
I don't get that either.
Like
I
they're
don't
not
get
in
it.
like a big media market. It's Dallas. It's Dallas, Texas.
Yeah.
It's not like a big. It's not in New York or in LA. But like no matter what they do, they in the news. And I don't know where that comes from because usually it's like the bigger markets that are like that.
I think
Is there
someone,
another?
the
I was gonna
Yank-
say, is there another? Bet that this New York though.
Yeah,
You know
true,
what I mean?
true.
That makes sense. It's the media mecca. Like, is there another like in another sport in America where there's like an off, like a not a traditional media market to where
Yeah,
they are like the media darlings?
maybe not to the extent of the Cowboys, but I know, like I think I told you this. Well, all my 20s, I dated a girl from Franklin, Tennessee, and her whole family, they were like diehard Reds fans. Like the Reds were like the team that they would say like the South like loves the Reds. You think, is that
The
accurate?
South?
That's what they
Well, the
always told
South
me.
is the Braves.
Well, now, yeah, but they like
Always,
they're
though.
but like her dad.
Now, like once you get to like Kentucky and Ohio and
Mhm.
all that area is the Reds.
But they were always in Tennessee and like northern Mississippi, and they were like the Reds because they had the big red machines. Like her dad like grew up and it was like before the Braves had like established themselves fully in Atlanta.
Yeah, maybe in like the
Yeah.
70s if you were.
Yeah, but that's probably faded. So
Yeah.
it is really, I think it's just the Cowboys that kind of fit that moniker. America's
Yeah,
team.
probably.
I wonder if it was just Roger Staubach had a lot to do with that.
Wow, I don't get it. Like
Yeah.
they haven't what? When's the last time they made the playoffs? Been like almost 15, 20 years.
I don't
right?
think they've won a playoff game in. It was, remember they had Des Bryant, quote
Oh,
unquote,
that's true.
drop
Yeah, it was
drop
like,
the ball.
15
yeah,
years ago. Though, wasn't it?
yeah. But they lost that
Was
game.
that
so-
that long ago?
Yeah,
so
last
something
shit,
like that. Yeah.
my
I think
was-
they've made it a bunch with Dak, but they never win a game. They always get bounced in their first game.
is what it is, man.
Yeah.
The Braves honestly though had that for a while in the 90s.
TBS. Yeah. And the Cubs, because they had WGN, that was kind of, they syndicated kind of everywhere. There's a lot like Cubs, like when you watch them play, doesn't matter if it's LA, Arizona, Minnesota, like the Cubs fans are always like it's at least 50% Cubs fans.
Yeah. Well, shout out to that. Y'all want to get into some Karen Reed?
Yeah, I did just want to say real quick, Jamal Anderson in 1998, 410 carries for 1,800 yards.
That's
Criminal.
Led the
Lockman
league.
coaches.
Arian, you led the league 1 year in carries. Do you know how many you had?
I would say around 320, 2012.
351 in
Damn.
2012
Yeah, they fed me, dog.
for
They fed me.
1424, and also led the league in touchdowns with 15.
Yes, I did. I think it was 20 total, by the way, too.
big
I'm not
fantasy
mistaken.
year.
Receiving.
Any year I was healthy, it was a big fantasy year, bro.
Yeah.
I was a
Where's
baller. I did my
receiving
thing.
touchdowns? Oh, 2 receiving touchdowns,
Okay,
so 17.
Really, too? Yeah, you know what? That was the year. I love Cool, man, but he did not utilize my hands, dog. Like, I could run routes with the best of them. I grew up, my father was a receiver, and that's one thing I liked about Bill O'Brien is when I got into his offense. He split me out. I was slot. I was running slants against and option routes and all of this shit, dog. Anyway.
2010 and 11, though, 600 receiving yards.
Yeah, all that shit was all off of like screens and dump downs and check downs. Like that was all yak. That shit was all yak, dog. Insane.
2010, 1,600 receiving yards, 1,600 rushing yards, 600 receiving yards.
Yeah, it was one of the better seasons that a running back has had. Like top 10, I think.
That'll play.
In real time, were you ever like,
That'll play. Fairway.
That'll do. Yeah. In real time, where you're like, man, this is too many touches, or did you just
in
like
real time.
keep feeding
Because
me?
so that's the shitty part, right? Which I fucking hate the NFL. This is part of my head. So I'm coming up, and the whole knock on running backs is you can't stay on the field. Like, meaning, we have to have a first and second down back, and then we have to have a third down back because you can't block, you can't pass protect, or you can't catch, right? And so that's why they usually have a stable, because in order to be able to carry the load, first and second down, read defensive coverages and blitz packages and all that shit, and then be able to actually stand there and block linebackers who are 250 coming straight at you. You got to have something about you. So in order to have all of those attributes and do it better than anybody on your team, that's just rare, and why you don't really have 3 down backs that can do all that. That's just I was a rare breed. And what did you ask? Fucking coffee.
Refill it.
Damn. What did you ask? I was going somewhere with that.
I asked if you in real time if you were ever like,
there you go.
like,
Okay,
sub
okay.
me out.
So as you're doing that I'm trying, like, the more value that you add, the more valuable you are.
Mm-hmm.
Except at the running back position in hindsight, because they don't look at, if you're in a contract negotiation, they'll use that against you. It's like, yeah, you're good, but you're not a third down back, so your value decreases. Yeah, you're good, but you can't carry the load first or second down, so your value decreases. If you can do all those things, yeah, you can do all those things, but you're on the field too much, so your wear and tear is going to be too high, so your value decreases. So there is no winning as a running back. There's just no winning, which is why something needs to be done. And all those things are actually brought up during contract negotiations. Like when they're going back and forth with your agent or your representative or whatever the case may be, those are actually brought up. Like they'll literally tell you, yeah, your value's not that high because you're not a third down back. They say, yeah, you only had this much amount of receiving yards, blah, blah, blah. They'll tell you all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a no-win situation. And so in the moment, I'm thinking, nah, I'm staying on the field. Like, I'm better. Because if you allow somebody else to play in your spot and they do well, they don't care.
Yeah.
That decreases your value, which decreases your pay. And so it's a reason why the running back situation needs to be addressed in the NFL, is because you're actually being penalized for a unique skill set. And so if you cap the years you can sign a running back for, you can only sign up for 3 years, then that value increased, because now we're not looking at, but over the long haul, now it's just like, for these 3 years, this is your value.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that would fix a lot of it, but
it's like they need their own union.
I think so. Or the union that is now needs to, like, they need to have older cats involved.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so I'm gonna get off a little tangent here, but the issue and why we don't have lifetime health care is because every time the CBA is up, you're negotiating with current players, and current players are worried about what's going on with them right now. They're not worried about when they're 40 and 50 and their back aches and their knees hurt, right? And they're gonna have to pay out of pocket for those surgeries. Like, they're not worried about that. They're worried about, okay, how can we get more money on this end, front load the contracts, which is fair. Mm-hmm. But this is why the union needs to have more foresight and need somebody to fight for the cats who are, and it's not even like cats like myself, right? Like I'm fine. I have ailments, and some of the stuff I know, and later on I'm gonna have, but I'll be able to pay for it because I was lucky enough to have good people around me. There are people that played that aren't as lucky, who don't have as much, saved up, and they're gonna feel those surgeries. But that should absolutely fall under the veil of the NFL taking care of those things. But the NFL is always gonna try to skim on the top as much as they can. So they're not worried about the players. And this is why I always say the NFL doesn't actually give a fuck about the players. They just care about the appearance of giving a fuck about the players. If they would, the first thing we would do is take care of the health of the players. That's the first thing we do. But what do? We add more games. We want to add more games with the same amount of pay. It's
that part is crazy.
It's not. It's
you don't think? I feel like you should be getting a game check. Yeah.
No, I'm saying it's just predictable. It's the same old, like, it's just labor, right?
Yeah.
Ownership in this country, this goes back to business and why me and my brother disagree, but like, that is the bedrock of capitalism. You want to extract as much labor from your laborers as possible without paying them their dues.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's just where we at as an economy. And I think it's ass backwards, and that's why you need unions to fight for that shit. But I'm gonna get all into that, to the weeds of that. Karen Reed. We're gonna talk about some Karen Reed before we go down the capitalism pipeline. I think we should all agree that Karen name might be dead. Like, if you're having babies today, and you naming her Karen, that's a wild thing.
Can't do it.
Yeah, you can't do that shit.
I think it's a nice name. I wish it wasn't dead.
It's not a bad name, but
Yeah.
it just is what it's caught a stray, and it's time to put that one to bed. White women out there, if you're having children, please do not name them Karen. That name should be like the rest. It's over. Like, like Bartholomew.
I'd like to
Nobody's doing
see
that anymore.
This case might have been the nail in the coffin for Karen.
Have you seen they do charts though of like names throughout history? I'd be curious to see one of those. I guarantee you it's fallen off a cliff.
It's got to be down there with Agnes now. It's just one of those retired names. It's just no.
But
no,
Karen wasn't that popular now, anyways.
No.
I feel like it was like when I hear the name Karen, I think of the movie Field of Dreams, like the little girl who falls off the back, like Kevin Costner's daughter. Her name was Karen in that movie.
Was it really? I didn't.
Yeah, and it's like that's a cute little name for a little girl, Karen. Now it's like that. Now that that girl is probably 45 and
Right,
like
exactly.
complaining.
They're all 47.
Yeah, so I think that was the era. It's all like middle age. What's the generation before millennials? What's that called?
Is it
MTV
Boomer,
or what?
No,
It's not
there's
Boomer?
one between.
There's one in between.
X?
Might be X. I got
Well,
all this.
actually,
Yeah, it goes Boomer, Generation X, Millennials, Generation
Yeah,
Z.
so I feel like Boomers and X's, there's a lot of Karens, and now I think they're
Yeah,
gone.
I couldn't imagine naming like a baby now Karen. Like that'd be
That'd
crazy.
be wild. Is it because it comes with so much like social baggage where you're looking at the baby and be like crying, right? See the baby crying, you're like, you little Karen, stop crying.
I think Karen
This
is.
fucking 6-month-old
Yeah.
racist bitch.
I think Karen is just like an old name now. Like
Yeah.
I think it's just like categorized as like a mom name.
Mm-hmm.
even if it didn't mean being a bitch, like
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
just old to
yes,
me.
Yeah,
I agree.
I don't think I've met a Karen like in the wild.
No.
Like that like like out at a bar.
Mm-mm.
I'm like, oh, what's your name, Karen? Like, I don't think I've had that experience.
Is Karen name declining?
I guarantee you, it's fallen off a cliff.
Let's check it out. Okay. I accidentally tabbed out. Karen name
It says
declining.
since the 1960s, it was the fourth most popular name for girls. And in 2020, the name dropped from 660th place to 831st first place.
Damn, yep, it's going down. And I know there's some women out there just doing it like not in jest, but like just like to like stick it to the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Name my baby Karen, because I don't care. I'm not gonna let the woke mob get to me. Setting that baby up, dog. Don't
Dude,
do that.
all the Kathys out there dodged a bullet. It easily could have been. It could have been them. Yeah.
Say you was
Yeah.
close, dog. You was close.
you could have been a Kathy.
What
That's
do
the
you?
one-
You're a white guy of child
Bearing
having age.
Yeah.
What do you think of all these white names these days?
They've lost it.
Kinsley's. You're doing your child like such a You're being mean.
Yeah.
to your
Bullying.
child.
Yeah.
You are. And so you can feel unique. Like, oh, my kid's got a unique name. Shut up.
Yeah.
Name your kid. Give your kid a name from the Bible and just be quiet about it. Yeah.
No,
Love that.
literally. My mom wanted to name my brother Dermot.
What the
And my
fuck?
dad was like, he's gonna get made fun of in 8th grade. Like, we're not doing that.
It's a strong Irish name, Dermot.
Yes,
Dermot.
it's
Been
You
on
need
this
to
day
name an
elementary.
adult, not your baby.
Yeah.
yes.
Like your kid by his name should be able to grow up and be the president. And
Yeah.
can't do that if your name is pick one of these.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, I always like all
And
my
you're spelling
kids'
things
names
with Y's that don't need to be
Mhm.
there. Yeah.
I always like I look at my kid's name as a very like I don't know, something unique that when you hear it, it feels good.
Okay.
You know, like I just had a child boy and her name is Nami, right? And that's Japanese for wave. And then I was like, it got to flow, right? So her middle name is Nami Amara. And it just sounds amazing to me, right? It sounds dope. And like when people say like my name's Nami Amara, it's gonna be like, oh, okay, it's different, right? That's how I view it. But like I know black folks can get a little extreme with some of the
Sounds like
names.
a princess.
Mhm.
I appreciate it. I agree.
Yeah.
But I know black folks can get a little extreme with the names sometimes, man. Like, what was the dude with the football? There was a football dude. It was the funniest shit. The Truth, is that his name? I think it's like D8 the truth.
He
Like,
named his
D8
kid Doug
you're
Truth?
talking about DeColdest
Yeah.
Crawford.
the coldest.
the coldest.
Bruh.
And there was a rumor. There was a rumor. It wasn't true, but somebody started on the internet that his middle name was To Ever Do It. So they're like, his name is DeColdest To Ever Do It. Which would have, I mean, it's once you do DeColdest.
Right.
I mean,
Lean
what's
in.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
get it,
like,
go all the
might
way.
as well.
May as well.
Yeah.
Bruh, I love my black people, but that's a wild one, dog.
I believe he's
coldest.
currently playing at Nebraska.
the coldest.
Coldest. I like to your point though, Big T. I named my dog George. Like just
Yeah.
you're a fucking
George?
George.
Dogs
yeah.
having human
George.
names I love it.
DeColdest has transferred to Louisiana Tech, so he's still
He's still relevant.
around.
What year is he on? Is he on one of those COVID
Last
eligible-
year, he was a redshirt freshman, appeared in 11 games on special teams and at wide receiver, 2 catches for 17 yards.
I gotta find him in the transfer portal for NCAA.
He's got to be on there.
Yeah, get him.
The coldest.
Yeah. Let me tell
But
you.
see,
about
and you setting him up though too, because if he ain't the coldest,
yeah, true.
Yeah, he's got to live
Yeah,
up
You
to
have
it.
no choice.
Yeah.
You have no choice
Yeah.
but to be.
Thank
That's
God that
tough.
kid went D1.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because if he was like an accountant right now, that's
That's what I'm
tough.
saying. So
Yeah.
it's probably really dope in high school. And you
Yeah.
and hey, you know what I'm saying? You getting the Sky League. That's what's up.
Yeah.
But now it has to transfer or else you get clown.
Yeah, I don't even know if you can beat the coldest at Louisiana Tech.
Yeah, you got to
Yeah,
ball
you
out
gotta
at
be-
Louisiana.
That's an
Tech.
SEC name. Yeah.
This is a big year for DeColdest. Redshirt sophomore needs to really put together a nice season.
Get back in that transfer portal.
I gotta hear one of the because you know how like on telecasts, man, they do everything like really proper. They try to do everything. I would love to hear that game being called.
Chris
Holdest was-
Fowler.
Arian, go on YouTube and look up DeColdest Crawford air conditioning commercial.
Oh, he's getting the NIL check.
It's a solid NIL deal.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at
That's
that.
funny.
That's the real spirit of NIL. That's what it was
Yes.
supposed
Yeah.
to be.
Exactly.
He's got to bump it up, be like a GE, like get your refrigerators with Whirlpool from the coldest. Like that's if he has a big year, he's got a lot of runway there.
Yeah, I mean, it can go to drinks. It can go a lot.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Like imagine him doing Yeti.
Get that, I was just gonna say, get that Yeti deal next.
That'd be amazing, man. So shout out to the coldest. We rooting
Yeah.
for you, homie, for sure.
If
all right.
any play he makes is going to be all over Twitter, like if he
Oh,
if he
yeah.
plays,
Yeah, brand ID.
Yeah.
yeah.
Now I'm
100%.
starting. Maybe I should name my kid the coldest.
It's got to be
warmest.
one of one. The warmest.
But he would be a hockey player, so just like that's a natural fit.
Yeah.
The what's the Achua family? They've got God's Gift Achua,
Oh, I don't know about that.
Precious Achua, who I think he's in the NBA,
Okay.
played at Memphis. There was God's Gift, there was God's Love, I think, which great sentiment.
Yeah.
Maybe
That's a bad name. It's a bad name.
Maybe a
dog.
bad
Not
name.
quite a biblical name, but close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, God's
Directionally correct. Yeah.
God's will, promise, grace, and peace are the others. God's gift.
I don't mind peace. Peace is on the brink of like unique but still work wittable.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me?
It's like
But
Grace. It's like the white. It's like you got a lot of white girls named Grace
Yeah.
out there.
I ain't mad
Yeah.
at Grace. I like Grace.
Yeah.
Peace is kind of dope. Like somebody named, what's your name? Peace. That actually, now that I'm thinking, the more I think about it, I like it because it's quirky enough to be like, it's not normal, but it flows.
Is it
Names
a-
got to flow.
Yeah. Is it a girl or a boy name? Peace.
I think that's unisex.
Yeah.
Yeah, peace. Yeah, and the more I say it, the more I like it. Like if somebody uses like, what's going on? What's your name, bro? Peace Williams.
All right.
Ooh, it's kinda-
The next foster baby.
No, there's no more. I'm done. I got five. I got five. Yeah,
All right, 5's enough.
yeah. I got a little starting five, little roster. You know,
Okay.
let's see. We got to make the playoffs.
Basketball team.
Yeah, we got a little basketball team. I'm telling you, dog. All right, that's baby talk. And I started with Karen, bro. We're supposed to talk about the case.
And I'm excited to talk. I'm mad at myself for not following Karen Reed until now.
I hadn't heard about it till y'all suggested it in the group chat. I was like, who is this? And so, I did my little due diligence, and here we go, man. Big T, I'm going to let you give the background story of where it's at, and then we can talk about some of the nuances and what we all feel is happening or going to happen. So take it away, man.
So the facts of the case, and Chief, I think you know a little more about this than I do, so correct me if at any point I'm wrong. So Karen Reed and her boyfriend John what was his last name?
O'Keefe.
John O'Keefe. He was a Boston police officer, and they are out at a bar drinking one night. And then after that, John wants to go to a party at
Another police officer's house.
Correct. And so he didn't know that guy that well, right? It was a friend of a friend.
Correct.
So he's like, let's go to this. Karen is like, I don't want to go, but I'll drive you there and then go home.
Mm-hmm.
They go to this house. She lets him out of the car, drives home. He does not come home for a while. She gets nervous. She apparently texted and called him, I think, 30 times that night. Didn't know where he was. So she wakes up at 5 a.m. He's still not home. So she enlists Jennifer McCabe, and there was another woman. How did they know each other?
I don't know their connection exactly.
So Jennifer McCabe was at the party also.
Mm-hmm.
And the other woman, I forget her involvement exactly, but she at 5 o'clock, she's like, hey, John still isn't home. We got to go find him. I'll mention this now. She backs her car out of her driveway, and if she doesn't hit John's car, comes very close to hitting it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell from the camera angle, but looks like she may have hit it.
Yeah.
If not, it was as close as you can get.
Yeah.
They go out, they're looking for him. They go back to the house that the party was at, and he is out in the yard, basically, in like a bank of snow.
Yep.
There was a huge snowstorm. And he is, I don't know if he was dead at that point, but he was pronounced dead like 2 hours later.
Yeah. Basically dead on arrival.
Yeah. From blunt force trauma and hypothermia, which they say is what really killed him.
Yeah.
So they call the cops, and her tail light is broken. Later, they find bits of the tail light in his clothes and like around him, but the house was never secured as a crime scene for like a couple days, right?
Correct.
Like they left it sitting there, and then a couple days later, we actually found bits of the taillight.
Odd.
Yeah.
Yeah. Funny how that worked out.
So the neighbor has a Ring camera, and there is footage of them getting there at 5 o'clock the next morning and finding him. There is somehow no Ring footage from the night before. The Ring camera didn't work.
Yeah, it's like one of those Jeffrey Epstein things where it's just like, the camera went out at exactly the wrong time. Yeah.
So she is
By the way, I strictly have security cameras just so I am not falsely accused of something.
That's probably smart.
80% of the reason I have cameras is so like, no, I'm in my house, bro. You see me. I promise. Go ahead.
Been home. Yeah.
Yeah, I was home.
So they're going through 2 or 3 days after this, she is arrested. The prosecution's theory is she drove there. They'd been drinking. She was drunk. She backs up.
Hey, T-Pain.
Yeah, we went to drinks, had drinks, we drunk them. She was intoxicated, backs up, hits him, drives away.
Now, it is to be said that she kind of like lied about how many drinks she had.
Yeah, so she said she had, I think, 4 drinks, and they were like, it was probably closer to like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Based on what her blood alcohol content was.
Yeah.
But so just a couple other things.
Calling 30 times in a night suggests 8 or 9.
Sure. So let's talk about that, because that's a very interesting.
Depending on your level of crazy.
Yeah.
Because that's an interesting part of this to me. So part of the prosecution's motive was that she left him a voicemail that said, I fucking hate you.
Yeah.
That night. To me, not the behavior of someone who has just killed the person they're calling.
I would agree.
Agreed. That's actually normal relationship shit if we really be keeping it a toxic relationship, but still normal.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, if I had just killed someone, I would go out of my way to not leave them a voicemail saying I fucking hate you.
Yeah. Unless it's like she's double, like I would, of clearly.
Yeah.
I texted him. It wasn't me.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, and the texting and calling 30 times would seem to suggest she was genuinely worried about where he was.
Yeah.
Or upset.
Sure.
Like,
Not
where you
healthy,
at, bro?
but not homicidal.
Right.
Yeah. This is that nice
Right.
middle ground between I'm
Right.
going to kill you and I'm mad at you.
Yeah.
So no one at the party claims to have seen John ever go inside, which I will get to later. They say they did see the SUV pull up, which is interesting because if you see an SUV pull up and you are, I don't know the level of expectation they had that anyone was coming, but if you see an SUV pull up, nothing comes of it. That's a little
Weird.
interesting.
Yep.
Karen says that she watched John go into the house before she left. Now this Jennifer McCabe character that she was with the next morning looking for him, who was at the party. She's the I wish I had her relationship right. She's somebody's sister-in-law, I think, of one of the other dudes who was at the party.
I don't remember.
Yep. Something like that.
Okay, yeah. She's
the one who is
She's
searching.
the sister-in-law of one of the Albert. I'm trying to find which one. There's Brian Albert and his brother.
Yep.
Sorry. Okay, so she's related to the people who are hosting the party. She Googled at some point
how long it takes to die in the
how
snow.
long to die in snow.
She
Now-
misspelled it too.
Yeah, it was. I think she said Haas long to die in snow.
Hose, Hoes.
Yeah.
Now-
long to die.
How long do these hoes die in the snow?
Now she claims, and the prosecution claimed that was at like 6:30 after they had already found him. And I
Didn't
guess
she
she
do
was
it like
just,
3 times? I think she Googled it.
I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
It said around
Before-
2:27.
Yeah, it's before and after they found him.
Well, no. So they the defense says she Googled it at 2:27, and they had a technology expert who was like, and I believe her explanation was, oh, it must have gotten scrambled or something. I did it at 6:30 after we'd already found him, and the guy was like, that's not possible. If it says you Googled it at 2:27, it was at 2:27.
Yeah.
But the prosecution says she Googled it at 6:30 after they'd already found him. Obviously, if it really was Googled at 2:27, that's fucking, I mean,
It's kind of incriminating.
yeah. There was also, and I don't know how much you know about this. I didn't necessarily understand the whole thing. There's a video of her car when the police had taken it in, and they're like hanging out around the taillight, and they had inverted the video when they showed it in court and to make it seem like they were on the other side of the car,
Yeah.
but they were really on the side of the broken taillight.
Correct.
So what was the
So that's where it starts to sound like a little, there's like Stephen Avery stuff going on here too, where
Right.
there's potential planting of evidence. There's another one of the police officers that was there. He had a text that said, well, put it on the girl. Okay. Like they're clearly trying to come up with an alibi. At least that's how the text read to me. And then when he was on the witness stand and they were questioning him, he had like deleted, he had broken his cell phone on purpose, taken out the SIM card, like tried to like very odd behavior. He's like, well, I was within my rights to do that. It's like, well, no one's saying you're not within your rights to do
Right.
that. It's very odd timing that you went to those lengths to destroy your phone right before, while this was going on, while this investigation was going on. And then you just happened to decide, hey, I need a new phone now. Like that, so there's like very suspicious stuff about the evidence, the Ring cameras. There's like enough stuff on like where her side of it to me sounds more plausible. And it does feel like these were potentially crooked cops who were trying to cover their own ass.
Yeah.
That's how it looks to me.
So Brian Albert, who's the guy whose house the party was at, he and another guy deleted all of their call logs
Yep.
from that night, and they had made a lot of phone calls apparently. Maybe this is getting out ahead, but these are just the things I have written down that I found the most of note. So the
real quick. As a man that used to be unfaithful, I admit my wrongs. I've learned a lot of life lessons. The number one telltale sign of you doing something you ain't supposed to be doing is deleting shit. It just is what it is. I'm sorry if I'm telling on anybody out there. Apologize, but those are just the facts. Like right now, I'm single man. I don't got nothing to worry about in the world. I ain't committing no crimes. Every message is up. Every call log is up. I ain't worried about it. I ain't saving no debt. I don't care. If you deleting shit, you doing something you ain't supposed to be doing, though. It is what it is. Continue.
Yeah, so the guy who owned the house, who was also a cop, deletes his whole call log from that night. This is the other thing. So that family, the Brian Albert, grew up in that house. It was his parents' house, and then he and his wife lived there. So he'd been in that house his whole life. Shortly after this, they remodeled their basement and sold the house at below market value.
Damn.
They also, now here's, so John had some.
That's like deleting your call logs on steroids.
Yes.
Yeah.
In a housing market, by the way, where nobody fucking sells their house under market value. You go try to buy a house right now. Go see what they're going.
Better
for.
have cash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing, and maybe this is getting too far ahead, but I have it written down with this. So they had a German Shepherd, this family, and John, on his body, had these very interesting lacerations on his arm that would not seem consistent with getting hit by a car. The dog was 7 years old. They got rid of the dog when they moved. Generally, unless you're a huge piece of shit, you don't get rid of a 7-year-old dog.
No.
At a bare minimum, you're an asshole.
Right.
I'm not up on like dog lore. What are you insinuating? Because I will get rid of a dog at any age.
Yeah, well, you'd never get a dog, but
True. I'm just like, right, when you said he got rid of a dog, I'm like, okay.
No, but at seven, that it's not like let's say you rescue a dog and it's like the dog's going after your kids and you're trying to train it for 6 months and it's just like this is not right for our family. If you have a dog for 7 years, that dog is now a member of your family.
That's the homie. Okay, I got you. Okay,
it's very odd to get rid of a dog after 7 years. 7 months, maybe if it's like a real problem. Not 7 years.
Okay, so red flag.
Virtually unheard of.
Yeah,
got you.
And he had these crazy like marks on his arms.
Okay.
So then they arrest her. The lead investigator in the case immediately, like the day she was arrested or like after, starts texting people calling her retarded and a whack job cunt. Those are his words, not mine. So that guy's name is Michael Proctor. He works for the Massachusetts State Trooper's Office.
which could be true.
She
might be both of those things.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay,
that doesn't mean she's a murderer.
Now, were these all in order? So like he called her a retarded whack job cunt, or
I think those are separate.
Okay, now is whack job cunt together? Because that's a hell of a slur.
Yes.
Whack job cunt. That shit is extra.
Jurors were shown messages from Proctor saying Reed was a, quote, babe with no ass, and joking that when he was searching her phone during the probe, he looked for nudes of her. Other messages revealed Proctor making light of Reed's Crohn's disease, writing she's got a leaky balloon knot. Which I must admit is the first time I have ever heard balloon knot, and I think it's kind of very funny.
You're going to work it in?
That is, it's the first I'm hearing of this.
And there's been a bit of a paradigm shift with white dudes too, because when I was coming up, white dudes didn't used to like booty like that. Ass wasn't really their go-to. Like they was more of a front. Yeah, they like chest better. Like now, I'm starting to hear more and more white dudes like booty. You ever noticed this?
I have noticed it, and I feel like this is back to the streaming conversation again, where it's like I liked what I liked when it was tits and just be fit. And I don't need the ass. It's like I don't need the online and all that for streaming too. Yeah.
That's always been my go-to. Like when I see an attractive woman, that's the one thing. Like I like chest. If you got it, cool. If you don't, cool. I got it. I'm very indifferent. But booty is
it's a must.
I enjoy squats.
You would have liked the Kamala rally last night.
Why is that?
Oh, she had Megan Thee Stallion there performing.
He tweeted about it.
And she had to not say like half of her song.
Yeah, for sure. I tweeted about that because there were some dudes like the founding fathers would be so proud of this moment. I'm like, them niggas own slaves, bro. I don't give a flying fuck about their morality about twerking on the stage.
And then half the people, when Kamala started talking, they started walking out. They were just there for Meg the Stallion.
Hey,
That's fair.
hey, that woman is beautiful. Like, I would have enjoyed to see her perform live. Yeah. I'm not voting because of that, but I mean, I can understand if that sways somebody, it happens.
In another text message to his sister that was read in court, Proctor said about Reed, quote, hopefully she kills herself.
God damn.
So this guy
That would tie things up.
did not like this woman.
Yeah.
The evidence collection was also very...
Well, there was a quote about that too.
Where?
It was just like, it was like the most fucked up evidence or crime scene of all time.
So they collected blood in red Solo cups and placed them inside a brown Stop and Shop paper bag.
Yep. Not exactly by the book.
Sure.
Say. Yeah.
Snow with red drops was put into Solo cups and then to a brown Stop and Shop paper bag before being brought to the Canton police station, according to testimony from Lieutenant Paul Gallagher. Jurors were shown pictures taken inside the Canton Police Department of the reddish snow inside 6 Solo cups as the evidence was being transferred to Massachusetts State Police investigators. So this whole thing is like this shoddy organization. Yeah. There was another piece of evidence that when the paramedics got to the scene after they had found him, Karen Reed was allegedly saying, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him.
Yeah.
Several other people say that she was saying, did I hit him? Which you can understand someone saying in a frantic state if you've just found your dead boyfriend and you were, the last place you saw him was getting out of your car and you were drunk.
Yep.
So when I first heard the evidence of he gets out of the car, taillight's busted, the taillight fragments are on his thing, I was like, open and shut.
Guilty.
Deal.
Yeah.
And then you start to hear, well, they didn't actually treat it as like a real crime scene. They just kind of left it open to whoever wanted to
passerby
walk in and out.
Yeah.
They clearly hated her.
Yep. Whack job cunt.
It's at the house of another police officer.
I'm gonna call one of the homies that just randomly and see what he says.
It's
like
kind of a good.
Cunt,
I mean, you want to really whack job on its own. That cuts. You're a whack job.
Look, because it's like I don't know, something about it is very intentional.
Yeah,
you're a whack job. Like, hold on, fam.
It's like calling somebody weird. Yeah, weird is being.
Why is that rallying to right up right now, bro? I haven't really.
No, well, the Democrats are doing that intentionally to distract from the fact that they're fucking freaks and weirdos.
But it does also feel like it's contrived. It's like they put out a memo, be like, "This is our word this week."
It is
it's
crazy.
The same as when Biden was sharp as a tack.
Yeah,
it was like they were all saying they get like their marching orders of things to say. If one person said it was weird, then like fine. But it's like every talking head starts using weird at the exact same time. It's a little, weird.
If you use weird organically, it is a good insult.
Oh yeah, weirdo.
And if you add any like a certain vowel to it at the end too, like you call me, you a weirdo, bro.
Yeah,
that one cuts.
That's worse than being like.
You're a
I mean,
weirdy.
what's the worst like cuss word you could call somebody? Well, I intentionally said cuss word, not slur.
That cut a little deep. Go ahead and give me one of those at the end of that, Mac.
You knew where I was.
I mean, it's pretty bad, dog. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, it is. That's the worst, but that's not in the realm of what we're talking about.
Yeah,
you're right.
Let's just get demonetized.
All right, yeah. Where does weirdo rank compared?
That? No, that's light sauce right there.
But weirdo is worse than being like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and some of the you can use motherfucker as a compliment sometimes too. Like, you can say I got a cocksucker.
It's regional, right? So like when I was in college, it's from Nashville specifically, though. My brother's from Nashville. When we was going to college, he was there. if you called them a bitch, it was like they don't joke about that shit. For some reason, but you a bitch. You're like, hey, dog, it's fighting words. Like it was happening, like on site. For some reason, I never like, hey, you a bitch. Like this is joking. Like you joking with her. Hey, you a bitch. You know, you act like a bitch. But when you call a dude from Nashville a bitch, it changed. So like I think regionally, it just kind of depends. Like what rubs you. There's really nothing that like gets me to that point, except for like you probably some racial slurs. Other than that, like it's all jokes. I could joke with the best of them. Weird one. If I was conservative, I'd lean in. Weird it's a good thing, not of the norm, right? You're doing things your own way. Well, road less taken. There's plenty ways to take this to where the weird isn't, but they're all like, oh yeah, well you're the winner. They're doing that. I know you are, but what am I offended? I'm like, come on, dog.
Dude, and I will say, JD Vance, who I think he's been the target of the weird onslaught, he's a little weird to me.
He's socially awkward.
He's
a
little, like he's a little
socially awkward, dog.
Yeah. So I feel like that's why it's like cutting, because there's some truth to it. It's like when people call me a fatso or a fat ass. I'm like, like you fucking got me. Yeah, because it's gotten bad a little bit here the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, they need to hide JD for the next couple months.
Put him in the same basement as Biden. Let them hang out together.
So this whole thing, there was as I mentioned, there was a big snowstorm. There was a snowplow driver that supposedly went down that street between 2:30 and 3:30 in the morning. By the way, she dropped him off, I think, shortly after midnight. So this happens between midnight and 5.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that when he was there between 2:30 and 3:30, there was no body out there. Now,
so that would help her.
Sure.
Yeah.
But then the snowplow dispatcher said that there weren't supposed to be any on that street at all.
Oh.
But so I don't know why why the driver would lie that he was there. Maybe he took a route that
how hard was it snowing? Do we know that?
I think it was like a ton of snow.
So then wouldn't he be like somewhat covered in snow? The body?
I think he was.
Okay.
I can't speak for what that guy, but he said there was no body out there.
What did he say? There was nobody, or he didn't see anybody? Because those are two different things.
Well, I'm sure he said he didn't see one.
Got you. Okay.
I guess he thinks he would have.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm driving a snowplow. I don't think I'm like scanning for dead bodies in the front yard either.
But why?
You might just miss one.
Is that a city thing? Like I didn't know they did it that late. I thought it would be early in the morning time. But I've never lived where there's snow, so I don't know.
No, it's all hours of the night.
Huh.
I think that's when you have to do it.
Yeah, you can't.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because you're trying to keep businesses open the next day and let people get to work or to school or whatever. So if it's snowing, you get the call, you go.
Now, did they question him as to why he was there if he wasn't supposed to be there?
I'm not sure.
Gotcha.
Maybe he took a different route. Maybe he was wrong about where he was. I don't know.
Gotcha.
But seems like you wouldn't insert yourself into that conversation unless you were certain.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the paramedic who testified that Reed repeatedly told her, I hit him. And then there's the did I hit him thing. Karen's father, William Reed, told Boston 25 News about a conversation he had with his daughter the morning O'Keefe was found. Quote, Dad, I think I struck something, Reed said. I said, what do you mean? This was in the hospital. She says, I remember backing up and hitting something, but I can't say what it was. And at that point, she was frantic. Maybe not what you should say in that situation.
Probably not.
So this case was pretty contained to Massachusetts for a while. This happened in January of 22 until a blogger named Aidan Kearney, who uses the pen name Turtle Boy, wrote a blog about it. Mm-hmm. And he was staunchly, this is a cover up. These cops killed this guy and are blaming it on his girlfriend. And then it becomes a huge national story.
Yeah.
And now he was super into this. He cared about this case more than anybody has ever cared about anything. And he actually got arrested for harassing witnesses, which he claims is further proof of the conspiracy that they're out to get him. So the prosecutor alleged Kearney was showing up at sporting events of witnesses' children and making scenes,
Yeah, that's wild, bro.
harassing and photographing witnesses at their homes and jobs, and instructed followers of his blog to do the same.
Okay.
The prosecutor read some of Kearney's posts he allegedly wrote on his blog, which include over 160 entries about the alleged cover-up in Reed's murder trial, as well as profanity-laced segments of YouTube videos and messages that allegedly include threats to witnesses and their friends. Turtle Boy posted a picture on Twitter of his arms raised in a Free Karen Reed hoodie after he left the courthouse when he was released on personal recognizance, with the requirement that he does not have any contact with people connected to Reed's murder case, including Massachusetts State Police investigators. Quote, men with guns showed up at my house, tore it apart, took my computer and phones, and handcuffed me in full view of my kids as they got on the school bus. I'm not the one guilty of intimidation.
Damn, Turtle Boy's kids had to see that?
I guess so.
Damn.
I feel like if you have kids, having a blog where you're super into like a murder trial is kind of weird.
It's weird.
If you're 19
Yeah.
and you really care about this, like that makes sense.
Well, how old is he still going by Turtle Boy? How old is this dude?
He has kids, so I don't know, 30s, 40s.
Kid having age. Yeah.
I mean, it's an elite blogger name. I'm fucking with it, Turtle Boy.
It's a good moniker for sure.
Like, I would love to have an alert pop up on my phone. Turtle Boy's new blog. I'm like, here we go, baby.
Let's get in it. Let's dig in.
Turtle Boy back at it, baby. Let's get it.
So that's most of the evidence that I wrote down was taillights busted. They find his DNA was on the bumper as well. I think it was like one strand of hair or something.
Yeah, minimal.
Yeah.
Which could have gotten there.
Sure.
any
It was
other way. Yeah.
his girlfriend's car.
Right.
And then they don't secure the crime scene. They don't treat it really as a crime scene. And then they find the taillight pieces later.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the video of her backing out where she could have hit his car and broken the taillight. And then the guys deleting all their shit in the house. And the Google search of how long takes to die snow.
Yeah. I want to play you the clip of the guy with talking about his phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it here.
So where's your phone?
I do not have that phone anymore.
You've destroyed that phone, haven't you?
No, I threw the phone away.
Well, that's destroying the phone, isn't it?
I had every right to do that.
I didn't ask you about your rights. I asked you what you did.
Objection.
Sustained.
You destroyed the phone by removing the SIM card. Correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you do that? Did you pull the SIM card out?
Objection.
Did you pull the SIM card out of your phone?
Your Honor, to the best of my recollection, if I did take the SIM card out, I would have when I threw it away, if I was going to take it out, I would break it or cut it. But I did not wipe the phone. I did not take anything else off it. But if I was going to throw the phone away, that's what I would have done.
Okay.
You know, as an ATF agent with electronic data experience, when you pull the SIM card out and break it, and then throw the phone away and the SIM card away, you don't need to wipe the phone.
Objection.
Sustained. Mr. Jackson, that's it.
So
What was she sustaining those objections?
I
on,
don't
though?
I don't know about that either.
Like, how is that sustained? Like,
right. It's like it
Th-
seems
those
like
are
a
all-
pretty fair question.
all valid. Like, how
Yeah.
is that sustained?
But it's like you can
And she
tell,
didn't even
like,
overrule the one that.
right, the SIM card
She-
one.
Yeah, she just asked him. Well, did you?
Yeah.
Like, those are all fair. Like, I understand. Like, I think there's like three main. I looked this up because I was in a court case, but there's like three main objections. God, and they're lost on me right now. But it's like I forget. But that didn't seem like. I don't know. Obviously I
Probably
wasn't there.
hearsay.
Yeah.
Hearsay was a main one. Hearsay,
And like leading.
Leading
the
and-
witnesses.
So
relevant
that
ones.
would probably be considered leading,
Yeah.
a leading question, I guess. You
because he
did
wasn't
that,
answering it.
didn't
Did
you?
you? Did you wipe it?
Yeah. He's like,
Objection.
no, I didn't. Then it's
How's
like,
that
well,
leading?
well, you're an
that's a
ATF agent who knows about electronic data. You know, if you cut the SIM card and throw it away, that's essentially the same as wiping.
That's what I'm saying. It's all,
So-
and man, I think lawyers abuse objections. It's like a little game that they play. They should just be able to, and the judge should just be like, yeah, we can't ask that. All its objections is just a fucking game, dog. It's just a game. I hate court.
That's a good point. Like you shouldn't have to. The lawyer shouldn't even have to say object. Like the judge should determine like what's
make
a good
that
question.
call. You make that call, bro.
That's a good point.
You know the law. It's just a game that you have to go through all these hoops. And then when the trial is public, right? Or it's a jury trial, it's an entirely different trial. And this is why, like, I know I got a lot of flack for this when I first said this, but it's why I feel like there should be public servants that that are placed in a role to view these cases if you want a jury trial, right? So like, for instance, if it's a murder trial, right? I think you should have a course that you have to go through and complete, and that you see all different kinds of evidence, you see these things, and you're kind of more of an expert on murder trials. So that way, when you're in the courtroom, the lawyers are not placating to the emotions of the jury, right? Because a lot of the time that's what happens is like you'll be in a court case and you have to, the evidence that you go through and the reasoning as to why, it's all very milquetoast. It's very vanilla because you have to not lose the jury. You can't lose them, right? Or else they check out as jury, quote unquote, of your peers. Mm-hmm. And so to me, that dilutes the actual evidence. It dilutes the actual content of the reason as to why we're in court in the first place. Whereas a judge, you can't trick a judge, right? Because they see them cases every single day. So somebody who has experience, we can get into the depth as to why we're all here. But when you have a jury who is a quote unquote a jury of your peers, who, bro, I stack boxes for a living, or bro, I'm a teacher. I don't see murder trials. I don't go through evidence. I don't know DNA. So you have to explain it to them at very small steps. And to me, that dilutes the nuances that can be life or death, or, you know, child custody, stuff like that. Very real consequences. And it's just, I don't know. And I know the pushback to that when I first said that from a lot of the fans of the pod was like, oh, well, they're more susceptible to corruption. And I was like, I understand that critique, and I don't think there is a perfect system. But to me, this way you can regulate it. Like, let's say we have a juror that has 10 murder convictions, you know, or 10 cases, or does 100 cases. There's a juror, and this is your job. You just do murder cases every day. You
gotta at least watch 5 Netflix documentaries about murder cases.
Whatever. My point is, like, you can see their tendencies. If they have tendencies, you can review their tendencies. You can have a review board that's their job, is to review these jurors and their tendencies. Now, you can talk about like race, you can talk about like gender, you can talk about all these different things that may or may not influence their decision, or are they making good judgments on these cases? To me, you can have an opportunity to regulate it, rather than shit. I can have a juror who doesn't know shit about this. I've been in a court case before. There was a juror who didn't speak English very well. The judge made him stay on the case, and he's just sitting there like, bruh, I don't want. He asked to be removed from the case. Judge said, you have to be here, and he's just sitting there, can't really understand what's going on. And I know he's just like, I'm voting with what everybody's voting with, so I can get out of here.
Yeah,
like that type of shit, and it affects people. It affects people's lives. And in cases like murder trials, I don't know, man. I just feel like if you don't have the opportunity to regulate this shit, it can get bad, and that's why I think there's a lot of bias in juries and stuff like that. But
the other thing with like the objections, let's say you're in the jury, and the lawyer's like, object, sustained. I still heard that.
Yeah,
I'm still sitting there being like, well,
I've always thought that.
Yeah,
like,
so it's not like I can erase it from my brain just because there's objections.
And they tell you to. They're like, you didn't hear that. Can't. It's like, okay,
stricken from the record. Well, sorry, it's in my brain. Yeah, I know we did it now.
No, lawyers do that shit all the time. They use that, which is why it's kind of like they play that game. Yeah, they play that game, and that's to my point. If you have a jury who sees this shit all day, that don't work on them, because it's like, I know what you're trying to do. You know what I mean? Or I know what you're trying to get me to see, right? Whereas the person who's never been in a courtroom before will be like, wait, hold on, you know what I'm saying? It affects them. You don't play those games. Rather, we get down to the nitty and gritty of why we here. But
yeah, I've never thought of that before. That's I don't know. They should trial that. They should do a pre-trial with your method and see if it has a different result.
To me, truth is, especially when you're dealing with like civil cases or even criminal cases, truth is it. If you ask any lawyer, eyewitness testimony is the least reliable,
Hmm.
right? Because humans have so much error in judgment, in perception, yada yada, right? And so, in order to minimize that, because you're never going to get perfection, but in order to minimize that, you have to have some kind of checks and balance system with the people that are reviewing all of this evidence. And if you don't have that, you have to placate to the jury's bias. Like in a court case that I was involved in, dog, it was, and that's another reason why like race absolutely matters in America. It was in a custody case, and while you get to pick the jurors, right?
Mm-hmm.
We wanted black jurors. They didn't want black jurors because we felt like black jurors would be more sympathetic to my cause, right? And so they get to X out jurors, and we're trying to get all the black jurors we can, and they're trying to get rid of all the black jurors they can. You know what I'm saying? So like it's a game that is played that I feel like can be mitigated with people who are more versed. Like there was a dude on a jury who, because mine was a custody case, right? So there's a dude on a jury who dealt in child services. So he's seen all the tricks. We wanted him.
Okay.
They immediately got rid of him because they couldn't play their tricks on him.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't work. He's seen this shit all day. And so that, like those kind of games to me is like the sickness of the court system that needs to be remedied. But it's not perfect. But I've just seen it be super taken advantage of. But like in a case like murder, I think there's a certain amount of expertise that can be levied that could help these kind of cases.
And that whole thing with the jury selection, that's a good point, because you would hope that both lawyers and both sides and the judge, ultimately they just want the truth. Like they're not looking to score a win necessarily. Like we're going to try our best to find the truth. And it's almost like they should be a team to an extent. And
I agree 1,000, but that's nowhere near the reality of our court system. The reality is there's so many lawyers, and why it's such a tough profession for me to respect, because there's a certain amount of morality they have to set aside. Like, this is my client. I have to do my best to service the client.
Yeah.
And I'm sure sometimes they're like, I can't take this case. I'm sure there's those lawyers out there, but for the majority, I don't understand majority. I'm sure there's a good swath of lawyers who are like, this is my client. I got to service my client, and they justify it like that. And I know it's a tough profession, but it's just, I could never do nothing like that, to where if I thought somebody was guilty or if I felt like I was on the wrong side of justice, I'm not taking your case. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I have a family member that's been involved. It's a lawyer who has done some very high profile cases. And it's like, this guy did it. Like, and he was just like, well, they're entitled to a defense under the law.
See, that's how they justify it.
Yeah. And it's just like, yeah, but like, let's say you get it on a technicality and that person goes free and then does something else, like, then it's like, then wouldn't you feel like you would have to take that to your grave?
And that's another thing, like a jury of your peers, you're entitled to that under the law, right? But what is my peer, right? Like if to me, my peer would be 6 ex NFL athletes. That would be my peers, right? Who can understand the situations I've been through, the situation I'm going through, right? But somebody who, it just works a regular job and may or may not have, may view professional athletes in an unfavorable light, right? And then a jury, like in the opposite side, jury is like 6 house mothers. That would be a jury of her peers, right? And to me, that's a fair, balanced jury set. But you don't get that because there's just not many people that can relate to my situation. So it's a very tough process to be involved in. Like, it's tough, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
Ain't no perfect system, but
hard pivot. But you're a man who enjoys women in their 40s, maybe sometimes 50s. I was curious what your thoughts on Karen Reed were.
It's cool. You know what I mean? It's cool.
For 40, what is she? 46 now?
I think she was 44 when it happened. So yeah. I think she's pretty attractive.
She doesn't look bad.
It's not. It's if we at a bar and we strike up a conversation, it'll probably go down. You know, it'll probably go down. It's nothing I'm going. You know what I'm saying? I'm not fishing for that one. But like if we so happen to, she look at me like a little young stallion, that's, you know what I mean? Yeah.
And she's got a little crazy in her.
Brother, that's kind of what you look for.
That's what he's saying.
I remember keeping it a bean, dog.
I was like, where's he going with this?
Those are the vibes, man. I'm not. I'm just going to leave it there. I'm gonna leave it there.
She'll only kill you if she hates you.
It sounds predatory, but it's not. Like you look for women who want to have a good time, and sometimes that comes with the
just
baggage
a little toxic.
of where are you? You know,
right?
You enjoy a pinch of toxicity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
For sure.
Yeah, keep it going. Keep it exciting.
Yeah, but as we mature, we like peace. You know
Correct.
What I'm saying?
Yes.
We like peace. So like I know where we at right now. But would you, Big T? You don't like older women, huh?
Yeah, I mean, 46 isn't my go-to, but for 46, I think she looks pretty good.
That's funny, man.
Well, I think if my girlfriend looked like that when she was 46, my wife, my girlfriend, whatever, I would be.
You've done very well.
I would be happy with that. Yeah.
I think we would all age pretty well if we were a little bit more cognizant of what we put into our bodies. But I think you reach a certain age, you're like, fuck it, whatever happens, happens. And then it shows up. And then it shows up in other ways. So just encourage your loved ones to eat correctly. As best they can.
I feel like we covered most of the evidence. For those, if you're not aware, it was recently declared a mistrial.
Mm-hmm.
They have, I think just this week, said they're going to retry her in January.
Yep.
Which I personally am excited for because I'm mad at myself for not. I love true crime, and by the time I heard about this, I was like, it's too late. So I didn't really follow it. But now we get a part 2.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of excited.
That's another 100,000 page views for Jerry Thornton.
Oh,
who's
yeah.
been blogging it basically, I think, every day for a couple of years.
Turtle Boy about to get back cracking too. Right?
Yeah, shout out Turtle Boy.
So I guess from each of y'all, do you think she did it, and do you think she should have been found guilty? Because I have answers for those.
Go ahead, Arian.
I haven't combed I've saw a little bit of what has transpired. I don't think I'm invested enough to for Michael Jackson's cases, for instance, right? I was going through depositions. I read every single possible thing I could about Michael Jackson. So I have a very strong opinion about if he was guilty or not. This one, I don't think I care enough to comb over it to that extent, but from the evidence that I have reviewed, I don't think there's enough to convict.
That's kind of where I am.
The
standard is beyond a reasonable doubt. There's plenty of doubts.
Littered with reasonable doubt.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the guy's name? B.A. Albert. Brian Albert?
Brian Albert.
He's lucky that he's not on trial.
Totally.
I mean.
Yeah. At least for I feel like some of these guys with the cell phone guy, the clip I played.
Like destruction of evidence.
Obstruction of justice?
Shit like that. And then her calling that many times. Like, I feel like you have to be crazy.
I've had a girlfriend call me that many times.
No, what I'm saying, not crazy. I feel like you have to be a little unhinged in order to do that. I've seen that.
Mm-hmm.
That happens, right? But in order to murder somebody and then do that, you have to be a level of insane that I don't think that she is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so there's a few things that just don't match up, but then there are some questionable stuff. So it's like I said, I'd have to comb over it with a fine tooth, and I'm not that invested. So best I could say is I could see why it was a hung jury, right?
Yeah, they couldn't come to a
so I can see why that could happen. Like even if I believe that maybe she had something to do with it or whatever, I don't see enough evidence. You know what I mean?
Which this goes to a larger question I have about the American legal system and all. You're supposed to be convicted unanimously. If they don't come to a unanimous decision, you should be not guilty. Shouldn't be a mistrial.
Yeah, it's like the 12 Angry Men. You ever seen that movie?
No.
Oh, classic. It's like a black and white movie, but it's a classic movie. And it is like you are supposed to be unanimous.
Wait, so is she? Where is she at currently?
So they're apparently retrying it in January.
I do feel like they should have to, you know how they move trials sometimes because like, oh, we can't get a fair jury.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of think they got to move it out of Boston.
But I mean, now where you couldn't move it anywhere that it would.
You don't
matter.
think so?
I didn't hear about this shit until y'all brought it up in the group chat. I had never heard of Karen Reed or anything like that.
I think every white person has.
Yeah. the Netflix is a
that would
Yeah.
be a jury of her peers. There's a whole bunch of a whole bunch of brothers.
By
on
the
there.
way, that clip you played, I mean, those accents, that was crazy.
Insane.
Oh my!
I will say I have grown to. I think the Boston accent is the worst accent.
It's one.
Oh, not even close.
It's up there.
What's worse than that?
No, I'm saying it's number one with a bullet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
All right. That one's very
It's grating.
thick. White woman Tennessee, like that shit. Oh man, that shit. I don't like that.
A southern woman, you don't like that?
Give me
There's
a little
a difference
southern
though.
belle
There's
with
a
a
difference
twang.
because like when you go to like New Orleans, I fucking love that accent.
No, that's
my
a
God.
bad one.
No, when they tell me what you doing, baby? Are you
No,
get it out?
I don't like
Oh,
that.
I fucking that will. Hey, you can be a 4, and that'll take it to a 6 in my book, bro. That
Nah,
shit.
like you
I
walk
love
around
that.
like Charleston, South Carolina, and it's just like, oh man.
It's
I gotta
hi
move.
y'all, how you doing over there? Oh my God, that shit irks me. It's like nails on a chalkboard. Dog. I can't listen to it. But
It melts my heart, Arian.
The New, see with the New
Turns
Orleans,
me into a puddle.
the first time I was in New Orleans, I was with my dog RP Jacoby Jones. We went to he took me to my first po' boy sandwich, and the waiter walks up. She goes, "How you doing, baby? What you want?" I said, "Oh my God, that shit just got me." That one, and then a Jamaican woman accent. Ooh, that shit gets me.
A little southern girl, the southern belle wearing a sundress. It's just like, take all my money. Cause me nothing but problems.
You've been to Knoxville on a Saturday.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
it's a scene.
Ain't a place better.
Yeah.
On the planet.
Yeah, they make the overalls look good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I fuck with it. It's just that accent don't do it for me, man.
Okay.
That's,
I actually
that's
think the Chicago
crazy.
one's bad too.
If it's really hard, yeah.
Let me hear it. Look, oh, is that the Wisconsin? Like that?
Yeah.
Very
I
similar.
don't mind that one. I don't hate
Nasally.
that one.
Yeah.
I don't hate that one. I like most Southern draws though. Like most of them, like
little West Texas, maybe
Georgia, Florida, like
Yeah.
that type vibe. I like those. It's just that like I don't know if it's Middle Tennessee or what it is, but just that one don't do it for me, dog. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I was
man.
gonna say though, no chance she should have been found guilty.
No.
I think there's a chance she did it.
A chance. Not beyond a reasonable
Now I
doubt.
will say, I think whoever killed him, it was not intentional. Whether it was her or whether something went down in the house,
Imagine if it was the dog.
there's about as much circumstantial
know.
evidence that
I
it was
know.
the dog as there is that it was her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
the mistrial is gonna be interesting just because it's like what else do you have?
yeah, so I don't really know. I've never seen a case that's gotten, at least this high profile, that's been tried twice. Do they just do the same thing? Do they just bring the exact same witnesses and like?
God, them lawyer fees, dog. Oh,
Yeah.
And
I'll
she
be
got
in the
a
millions.
high-powered
Yeah.
LA. I think it was like Harvey Weinstein's lawyer.
Oh, really?
Bro,
I think so. Yeah.
So
bro,
a lot of those lawyers
I
will-
just talked to my lawyer. I was like, "Hey, yo, man, I got served with these papers, dog. Can you?" And that was the paralegal. And I was like, "Can you have him call me? Because it's hard to get on the phone." They bill me for that. I'm like, bro, get the fuck out of here, dog.
That's
Like, I'm not
billable hours. He was
Yeah.
working.
Fuck, I hate that shit, bro. Like, it makes me want to represent myself and just take my chances, dog. Because like, y'all be
Don't
jerking
do
me
that.
off.
That
Don't
will
do
cost you more money.
But I just be saying it's just frustrating because it's like, dog, how does that phone call of 2 minutes, $400, doggy?
He was on
Get the
was it
fuck-
really?
round it up.
I mean, it'd be like that. You see the bills and you're like, bro, how's this email $300?
He's on the
It's a
clock.
paragraph.
He's
It's
a
a
slow.
paragraph,
He's a
cuz.
slow reader. He's a slow reader.
I hate that shit, dog. I just be wanting like, and then I don't want to say too much, but he texting me pictures of his vacation and shit. I'm like, bro,
Yeah, that's not what you want to be doing.
Yeah.
Well, he's a cool dude. It's just I'm very aware of how much I paid you.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that should make you feel good, though. You
Enjoy the 4 seasons, asshole.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
You paid for his vacation. You
Yeah.
allowed him and his family to have a
Man,
nice time.
You know, lawyers are very low on my list of people I enjoy. You know what I mean? Like, it's what it is, dog. Oh man, hope he's doing well in Italy or where the fuck he is. Well, that wraps up the Karen case. Unless there's anything else on it, man. You got anything else?
I think that's
I
about
think
it.
that's
I'm
it.
very intrigued to use. I don't know if you know this, but when you said Netflix is coming out
Yeah.
with a thing.
Oh, they are?
Are they really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can't wait.
And then
Oh,
I think they said a
that's good.
3-parter.
Nice.
Nice.
And
See,
then
that's gonna make it a shit show for the next.
the next trial is going to
yeah.
be
It's
crazy.
gonna be
Well, like
insane.
even this one had like billboards and
Yeah.
stuff, you know. So I that's why I think they got to move it. They got to move
But
it.
it's
somewhere.
now it's an international story. There's nowhere. First of all, it has to be in Massachusetts, and you can't. It's not like there's anywhere.
I don't know the laws on that. I thought you could move locations of trials.
Well, it's a
It
state
has to
crime,
stay in the state.
so I can't imagine
Yeah.
you could have it anywhere else.
Yeah, I don't know
And
the
so
rules.
there's nowhere that they don't know about this. Now
Yeah.
maybe, I guess you could make the argument that maybe the DA in that county, if you think it's something that the police are in cahoots,
Mhm.
maybe a different county would be
Right.
better for
Yeah.
that. But in terms of like media, like there's
Yeah.
nothing you could do at this
Yeah.
point.
Damn. Well, free the dog, man. I hope he's doing well, or is he dead?
I don't think they killed him. They just got rid of him.
My
Which
mom,
again, normal people don't do.
Mhm.
my mom used to have this dog when she was growing up, and there's a small town called Raton, New Mexico. And so every time they would have a pet that they had to like put down, my mom's parents would tell her, "We're giving them to a nice family in Raton." So that's what they be saying. That's what we be saying with pets now. Like, he's going to a nice family. Hope that dog's in a nice family with Raton, man. Yeah. Well, shout out to Cuz, man. Hope he's eating kibbles. All right, man. That does it with Karen, man. In conclusion, don't murder your spouse. Don't name your kids Karen. Yeah, that's about it. For all the homies. I appreciate you coming on, my guy.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, for
I
sure,
feel like
man.
I always see clips of this show, so I'm a fan through the
Love
clips.
that.
Yeah,
Much love. Yeah.
good
no,
job
much
on the clips back there.
Now you're a
yeah.
recurring,
Yeah.
recurring guest.
Yeah.
Fact. Hey, Mac, don't forget, please beep out that I did a real hard R.
Yeah,
there,
yeah,
man,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Got it.
Yeah, just give me one of those. Beep. That makes it tolerable. The other one's like, whoa, no shit. Yeah. Well, all right, man. Appreciate it. Like, subscribe, all that shit. Love you guys, man. And we'll see you next Tuesday.